Ninth Circuit Court is in session. The Honorable Michael O. Saber presiding. You may be seated.
Good morning. We are on the record in file 24-21841-FC, People of the State of Michigan versus Dale Warner. We are at this point ready to proceed with the remaining preliminary instructions to the jury and then opening arguments. Is there anything that we need to address on the record before we begin our jury?
Yes, Your Honor. Just briefly, as far as the, there was a protective order that was over the x-ray of the tank, and that protective order anticipated that this would go to trial. We would just ask this court to allow us to disclose that x-ray at this point in time. I don't believe there was an objection.
No, Your Honor. The court had issued a protective order on February 26, 2025, and the order does appear to indicate that if this does go to trial, the x-ray would be used, but because the protective order is in place, Ms. Wise and I discussed the matter, and we think that the court just needs to issue a verbal ruling that the x-ray can be displayed in court and used at trial.
Okay then, so to the extent that that protective order needs to be modified to allow for that evidence to be displayed in court for the purposes of this trial, I will make that modification.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. The only other two matters are, one, there was a discussion in chambers about a text message exchange between Ms. Warner and a young woman named Madison. We had objected on hearsay grounds. The court had indicated that it does not believe it's hearsay, so that text message will be used during the government's opening PowerPoint. And then also we had a question about a photograph being used because there had been some enhanced photos. We discussed it with the government, and the photograph being used in the government's PowerPoint, as well as which will subsequently come in as an exhibit, is not an enhanced photograph. So I just wanted to make that clear on the record, so there will not be an issue. It's a still from a body cam.
All right.
Thank you.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, and I would indicate that the discussion with respect to that text message is accurate. I did indicate that that text message, in my opinion, is not hearsay because it was not being offered for the truth of the matters asserted in that statement. I do recognize that it did involve two levels of hearsay, but I think that the answer is the same regardless. The text is not being used to establish the truth of the matters in those statements. Is there anything else we need to address on the record before we bring our jury in?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. You may be seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. At this point, I will be giving you the remaining preliminary instructions, and after that, the attorneys will make their opening statements. You will have a written copy of the instructions that I am going to read to you. You may refer to them during the trial. Since no one can predict the course of a trial, these instructions may change at the end of the trial. At the close of the trial, I will provide you with a copy of my final instructions for your use during deliberations. Now I will explain to you some of the legal principles you will need to know and the procedure that we will follow in this trial. The defendant is charged with the crime of open murder. If you find the defendant guilty of murder, you must state in your verdict whether it is murder in the first degree or murder in the second degree. The defendant is charged with the crime of first degree premeditated murder. To prove this charge, the prosecutor must prove each of the following elements beyond a reasonable doubt. First, that the defendant caused the death of Dee Ann Warner. That is, that Dee Ann Warner died as a result of blunt force trauma and or strangulation. Second, that the defendant intended to kill Dee Ann Warner. Third, that this intent to kill was premeditated, that is, thought out beforehand. Fourth, that the killing was deliberate, which means that the defendant considered the pros and cons of the killing and thought about and chose his actions before he did it. There must have been real and substantial reflection for long enough to give a reasonable person a chance to think twice about the intent to kill. The law does not say how much time is needed. It is for you to decide if enough time passed under the circumstances of this case. The killing cannot be the result of a sudden impulse without thought or reflection. You may also consider the lesser charge of second-degree murder. To prove this charge, the prosecutor must prove each of the following elements beyond a reasonable doubt. First, that the defendant caused the death of Dee Ann Warner. That is, that Dee Ann Warner died as a result of blunt force trauma and or strangulation. Second, that the defendant had one of these three states of minds. He intended to kill, or he intended to do great bodily harm to Dee Ann Warner, or he knowingly created a very high risk of death or great bodily harm, knowing that death or such harm would be the likely result of his actions. You must think about all of the evidence in deciding what the defendant's state of mind was at the time of the alleged killing. The defendant's state of mind may be inferred from the kind of weapon used, the type of wounds inflicted, the acts and words of the defendant, and any other circumstances surrounding the alleged killing. Premeditation and deliberation may be inferred from any actions of the defendant which show planning, or from any other circumstances surrounding the killing. The prosecutor need not prove a motive for the killing, but you may consider evidence of motive in deciding if there was premeditation and deliberation. Motive by itself does not prove premeditation and deliberation. The defendant is charged in count 2 with tampering with evidence. The defendant is charged with intentionally removing, altering, concealing, destroying, or tampering with evidence to be offered at an official proceeding. To prove this charge, the prosecutor must prove each of the following elements beyond a reasonable doubt. First, that there was some evidence to be offered in a present or future official proceeding. An official proceeding is a hearing held before a legislative, judicial, administrative, or other governmental agency, or a hearing before an official authorized to hear evidence under oath, including a referee, a prosecuting attorney, a hearing examiner, a commissioner, a notary, or another person taking testimony in a proceeding. Second, that the defendant removed, altered, concealed, destroyed, or otherwise tampered with that evidence. Third, that when the defendant removed, altered, concealed, destroyed, or otherwise tampered with that evidence, he did so on purpose and not by accident. Fourth, that the evidence that the defendant removed, altered, concealed, destroyed, or otherwise tampered with was used or intended to be used in a criminal case where open murder homicide was charged. The prosecutor must also prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the crime occurred on or about April 25, 2021 within Lenawee County. You may consider whether the defendant had a reason to commit the alleged crime, but a reason by itself is not enough to find a person guilty of a crime. The prosecutor does not have to prove that the defendant had a reason to commit the alleged crime. She only has to show that the defendant actually committed the crime and that he meant to do so. The defendant's intent may be proved by what he said, what he did, how he did it, or by any other facts and circumstances in evidence. A person accused of a crime is presumed to be innocent. This means that you must start with the presumption that the defendant is innocent. This presumption continues throughout the trial and entitles the defendant to a verdict of not guilty unless you are satisfied beyond a reasonable doubt that he is guilty. Every crime is made up of parts called elements. The prosecutor must prove each element of the crime beyond a reasonable doubt. The defendant is not required to prove his innocence or to do anything. If you find that the prosecutor has not proven every element beyond a reasonable doubt, then you must find the defendant not guilty. A reasonable doubt is a fair, honest doubt growing out of the evidence or the lack of evidence. It is not merely an imaginary or possible doubt, but a doubt that is based on reason and common sense. A reasonable doubt is just that, a doubt that is reasonable after a careful and considered examination of the facts and circumstances of this case. A trial follows this procedure. First, the prosecutor makes an opening statement where they give their theories about the case. The defendant's lawyer does not have to make an opening statement, but she may make an opening statement after the prosecutor makes theirs, or may wait until later. These statements are not evidence. They are only meant to help you understand how each side views the case. Next, the prosecutor presents their evidence. Prosecutors may call witnesses to testify and may show you exhibits like documents or objects. The defendant's lawyer has a right to cross-examine the prosecutor's witnesses. After the prosecutor has presented all of their evidence, the defendant's attorneys may also offer evidence, but they do not have to. By law, the defendant does not have to prove his innocence or produce any evidence. If the defense does call witnesses, the prosecutor has the right to cross-examine them. The prosecutor may also call witnesses to contradict the testimony of the defense witnesses. After all of the evidence has been presented, the prosecutor and the defendant's lawyer will make their closing arguments. Like the opening arguments, these are not evidence. They're only meant to help you understand the evidence and the way that each side sees the case. You must base your verdict only on the evidence. My responsibilities as the judge in this trial are to make sure that the trial is run fairly and efficiently, to make decisions about evidence, and to instruct you about the law that applies to this case. You must take the law as I give it to you. Nothing I say is meant to reflect my own opinions about the facts of the case. As jurors, you are the ones who will decide the case. Your responsibility as jurors is to decide what the facts of the case are. This is your job and no one else's. You must think about all of the evidence and all the testimony and then decide what each piece of evidence means and how important you think it is. This includes how much you believe what each of the witnesses said. What you decide about any fact in this case is final. Part of your job in deciding what the facts of this case are is to decide which witnesses you believe and how important you think that their testimony is. You do not have to accept or reject everything a witness says. You are free to believe all, none, or part of any person's testimony. In deciding which testimony you believe, you should rely on your own common sense and everyday experience. However, in deciding whether you believe a person's testimony, you must set aside any bias or prejudice you may have based on the witness's race, national origin or ethnicity, gender, gender identity or sexual orientation, or religion, age, or socioeconomic status. There is no fixed set of rules for judging whether you believe a witness, but it may help you to think about these questions. Was the witness able to see or hear clearly? How long was the witness watching or listening? Was there anything else going on that might have distracted the witness? Does the witness seem to have a good memory? How does the witness look and act while testifying? Does the witness seem to be making an honest effort to tell the truth? Or does the witness seem to evade questions or argue with the lawyers? Does the witness's age or maturity level affect how you judge his or her testimony? Does the witness have any bias or prejudice or any personal interest in how this case is decided? Have there been any promises, threats, suggestions, or other influences that affect how the witness testifies? In general, does the witness have any special reason to tell the truth or any special reason to lie? All in all, how reasonable does the witness's testimony seem when you think about all of the other evidence in this case? When it is time for you to decide the case, you are only allowed to consider the evidence that was admitted in this case. Evidence includes only the sworn testimony of witnesses, the exhibits admitted into evidence, and anything else I tell you to consider as evidence. The questions the lawyers ask the witnesses are not evidence. Only the answers are evidence. You should not think that something is true just because one of the lawyers asks questions that assumes or suggests that it is. I may ask some of the witnesses questions myself. These questions are not meant to reflect my opinion about the evidence. If I ask questions, my only reason would be to ask about things that may not have been fully explored. During the trial, you may think of an important question that would help you understand the facts in this case. You are allowed to ask such questions. You should wait to ask questions until after a witness has finished testifying and both sides have finished their questioning. If you still have an important question after this, do not ask it yourself. Raise your hand, write the question down, and pass it to court staff, who will then give it to me. Do not show your question to any of the other jurors. If your question is not asked, it's because I determined that under the law, the question should not be asked. Do not speculate about why the question was not asked. In other words, you should draw no conclusions or inferences about the facts of the case, nor should you speculate about what the answer might have been. Also, in considering the evidence, you should not give greater weight to testimony merely because it was given in answer to questions submitted by members of the jury. If you cannot hear something that is said or presented, or if you cannot see a witness or evidence, please raise your hand immediately. During the trial, the lawyers may object to certain questions or statements made by the other lawyers or witnesses. I will rule on these objections according to the law. My rulings for or against one side or the other are not meant to reflect my opinions about the facts of this case. Sometimes the lawyers and I will have discussions outside of your hearing. Also, while you are in the jury room, I may have to take care of other matters which have nothing to do with this case. Please pay no attention to those interruptions. You must not discuss the case with anyone, including your family or friends. You must not even discuss it with the other jurors until the time comes for you to decide the case. When it is time for you to decide the case, I will send you to the jury room for that purpose. Then you should discuss the case among yourselves, but only in the jury room and only when all of the jurors are there. You must not talk to the defendant, the lawyers, the witnesses, or anyone who may be connected with the case. This means that you may not speak to these individuals even if it has nothing to do with this case. You should be very cautious about speaking to people because you may inadvertently speak to someone who is connected to the case. This restriction is necessary to avoid even the appearance of any improper conduct on anyone's part. If anyone tries to discuss the case with you or in your presence, tell them to stop. Explain that you are a juror and you are not allowed to discuss the case. If they continue, leave and report the incident to court staff as soon as you return to court. When the trial is over, these restrictions will no longer apply. When the trial is over, you may, if you wish, discuss the case with anyone. The restrictions I'm about to describe are meant to ensure that the parties get a fair trial. In our judicial system, it is crucial that jurors are not influenced by anything or anyone outside of the courtroom. Under the law, the evidence that you consider must meet certain standards. For example, witnesses must swear to tell the truth, and the lawyers must be able to cross-examine them. Because information obtained outside the courtroom does not have these safeguards, it could give you incorrect or misleading information that might unfairly favor one side. These restrictions start now and continue until I discharge you from jury service. It is your duty as a juror to decide this case based solely on the evidence you see and hear in this courtroom. You must not consider information that comes from anywhere else. This means that until you deliver your verdict, you must not read, watch, listen to, or receive any information, including opinions or commentary about the case, whether in newspapers, on television, the radio, the internet, or social media platforms. You also must not research any aspect of the case during trial. This means research using a cellular phone, computer, or other electronic device to search the internet, as well as research with traditional sources like dictionaries, reference manuals, newspapers, or magazines. You must not investigate the case on your own or conduct any experiments concerning the case, including investigation or experiments using the internet, cellular phones, computers, or other electronic devices. You must not visit the scene of any event at issue in this trial. If it is necessary for you to view or visit the scene, court staff will take you there as a group under court supervision. You must not consider as evidence any personal knowledge you have of the scene. You must not share any information about the case by any means, including cellular phones or social media. This means that even if you are not discussing the case with someone else, you may not post any information about the case on social media websites or in any other manner. If you discover that a juror has violated these instructions, report it to court staff. You may take notes during the trial if you wish, but of course you don't have to. If you do take notes, you should be careful that it does not distract you from paying attention to all of the evidence. When you go to the jury room to decide your verdict, you may use your notes to help you remember what happened in the courtroom. If you take notes, do not let anyone except the other jurors see them during deliberations. Each night, your notes will be collected and locked in a filing cabinet. Your notes will not be examined by anyone, and when your jury service concludes, your notes will be collected and destroyed. You can see that we have chosen a jury of 16. After you have heard all of the evidence and my instructions, we will draw lots to decide which 4 of you will be dismissed to form the jury of 12. Possible penalty should not influence your decision. If you find the defendant guilty, it is the duty of the judge to fix the penalty within the limits provided by the law. I may have more instructions during the trial. After all the evidence has been presented, you will hear the lawyer's closing arguments. Following the closing arguments, I will give you additional instructions about the rules of law that apply to this case. You should consider all of my instructions as a connected series. Taken together, they are the law that you must follow. After my final instructions, you will go to the jury room to decide on your verdict. A verdict must be unanimous. That means that every juror must agree on it, and it must reflect the individual decision of each juror. It is important for you to keep an open mind and not make a decision about anything in the case until you go to the jury room to decide the case. You must not let bias, prejudice, or public opinion influence your decision. Each of us may have biases or perceptions about other people based on stereotypes. We may be aware of some of our biases, though we do not express them. We may not be fully aware of some of our other biases. Take the time you need to test what might be automatic or instinctive judgments and to reflect carefully about the evidence. I caution you again to avoid reaching conclusions that may have been unintentionally influenced by stereotypes. You must reach your own conclusions about the case individually, but you should do so only after listening to and considering the opinions of the other jurors who may have different backgrounds and perspectives from yours. At this point, we are ready to proceed with the opening statements. Mr. McCready. Mr. McCready, before again, I just ask you to remember you need to stay at the podium in front of the microphone so that your voice is caught in our recordings.
Yes, we'll do. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now we get to start what we're here for. This is Dee Warner. April 24, 2021, she went home to tell her husband, the defendant, that the marriage was over, they were selling their businesses, and they were through. She was never seen or heard from again. August 17, 2024, over 3 years later, she was found in an anhydrous ammonia fertilizer tank, dead. How did she die? Well, the medical examiner examined her body. She had been strangled. She had blunt force trauma to her face and head. Her face and neck were wrapped in duct tape. She was in her pajamas, wrapped in a tarp, welded into a tank. Now, she was born Dee Hardy. She was born into the Hardy family. She was first married, before she was married to the defendant, to Tim Bach, and the two of them had 4 kids. You'll hear from 3 out of the 4 will testify. In order, from oldest to youngest, Amber, TJ, Zach, and Raquel. At the time of April 24, 2021, all 4 kids were adults. You'll hear that Dee and Dale worked together at a company called Crop Production Services. They each got divorced from their spouses, got married, and they had a child together named Angelina. In April 2021, Angelina was 9 years old. Dale had also been married to Julie Warner. That couple had 4 kids who were also all adults in April of 2021. And their names are Jenica, Mackenzie, Jaron, and Cameron. And you may hear testimony from some of them. After Dee and Dale got married, they started a business or several businesses together at a farm that they owned at Munger and Carson Highways. The businesses were called War Egg Farms, War Egg Farm Services, and DDW Trucking. They farmed thousands of acres. They provided chemicals and other farming supplies to local farms. And they did over-the-road heavy trucking to all places in Michigan and in Ohio. Dale did the farming, and Dee basically ran the office. There's going to be a lot of testimony about the Munger property. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time to show you the property that we're talking about, the different buildings, so you're familiar with that as you hear the testimony. I understand that you're sitting far away, so I've blown this up as big as I could possibly do that. But you will get, for all these things that you're going to see, you will get physical exhibits as the witnesses testify. So be able to hold those in your hand and see them up close. But you see here, this is a 2020 overview. This is the closest in time that we have to April of 2021. And you'll see at the bottom edge, that's Munger Road. So the farm is to the north of Munger Road. This is another view that we will use fairly often throughout the course of this trial. We've got the buildings numbered because other than the house, which is number 3, people use different names for different buildings. But right there at the southern edge, building number 3, that's the house. That's where Dale and Dee lived. They had bedrooms for the kids, even though they were adults. This all takes place on this property. That's the back of the house. It's where everybody came and went from, parked in front of. That's the view from the road. That's the garage. Okay, that building to the west, number 1, I'm going to refer to it as the old shop. There's several witnesses refer to it as the old shop. That's where the mechanic would work on the farming equipment and the semi-trailers. This is a view from the porch of the house, and you see that building. That's the old shop, just to give you an idea of the perspective and the distance between these buildings. That's a shot from inside the old shop. Okay, moving on to building number 2. That building stored dry chemicals, dry fertilizer, etc., in bays inside what we would call the dry barn, or the dry fertilizer barn. That's a picture from inside the barn. You can kind of see the bays there. They're not real important to this case, but that implement, that farm implement, is important. That's a front end loader. You'll hear it referred repeatedly as the JCB. And you can see the initials JCB on the front end loader. Okay, the building facing north and south, that's building number 5. I know it's hard to see the numbers on these. That is, I'm going to be referring to that as the new shop. Several employees also refer to that as the new shop. There's a side view, and you can see these large overhead doors. So they had bays, so they could drive large farm implements and other machinery in there to get out of the weather or to be worked on. Okay, number 6 there at the bottom is the office. This is where the office employees would go. So you can see it's part of that same building as the new shop, but it's on the right end there. And here's a close-up of the entrance to the office. And this is a shot. If you would go through that main door, you would be in this part of the office where several people had their workstations. To the northeast, building number 7 is the building where the large sprayer would go in and be filled up with chemicals to then be applied to the fields. We'll be calling that the spray barn. And you can see the sprayer can pull in one end, get filled up, and pull out the other end. I also want to bring your attention to this area to the northwest. I'm going to blow that up just to show you a few things. Right there in the middle, those 2 white tanks is where they stored the anhydrous ammonia. Again, it's a fertilizer. Tens of thousands of gallons were stored in those 2 tanks. Towards the bottom, you see 4 smaller tanks. Those smaller tanks would attach to the larger tanks and be filled with the anhydrous ammonia. That area there is referred to as the burn pile. This is where they would burn their trash. This will be important as we go on. In that photo you can see, I know it's small, but there are probably a dozen more anhydrous ammonia tanks lined up close to the main mother bottle, as it was called. Now, you're going to hear about the surveillance camera system that they had on the property. And there's hours and hours and hours of footage from these cameras. And we're not going to put you through watching a week's worth of video. So what we are going to do is we've taken out what we think are the most important parts, and of course the defense can show you parts that they also think are important. But I want you to understand where the cameras are and what they show and what they don't show. So building number 1 is represented, the whole building in red, the old shop. Basically there's a camera inside that captures everything that's not behind a partition or a box or a truck or whatever. So that whole building is represented in red because that whole building, basically the inside of it, is under camera surveillance. The north part of the new shop is also got cameras on the inside. The shot I showed you of the inside of the office is also under camera surveillance. There are 3 outside cameras as well. So attached to the north side of the old shop, there's a camera looking north, and the arrows kind of represent the view that that camera captures. Another camera on the west side of the new shop, looking in a northwest direction as shown by those arrows. And then there's another camera on the east side of the office, and it's a fisheye lens, so it's kind of got a wide angle, but it kind of points towards the spray barn and kind of down towards Munger Road. So it's got that viewpoint. Now, you have a sense of the property. I'm going to talk a little bit about Dee and Dale's relationship, which the witnesses will testify was never good. Constant verbal disagreements over text, face-to-face, a pattern of stalking by Dale towards Dee, which I'll tell you more about in just a second. Extreme secrecy and distrust between the two of them. Some of the text fights that you'll hear about during this trial, and this is in the weeks leading up to April 2021. Here we have February 23, 2021, where Dee says to Dale over text, "I'm ready to move out and be done with this. You treat me as if I'm not worthy of anything. You want to be in control so that the other person is powerless. I'm not going to live like this." 2 days later, we don't even talk. We are just roommates. February 25, our relationship has gotten so much worse. I can't be with someone that does this to me. March 1st, nothing is ever good enough for you. You wonder why I don't sleep with you. All of this. They had a vacation planned to Disney World. I think they left on March 6th. 2 days before, she says, "Fuck you, I'm not going." You hear about face-to-face confrontations as well. Dee's daughter Raquel will testify to that. They had an exchange student from Italy staying with them, living with them, watching them, day after day. She'll testify. Giada Rowe is her name. And another young woman who was good friends and spent a lot of time at the Warner household. Her name is Madison Wolf. She goes by Maddie. We'll hear from her as well. Hardly a day would go by without a fight. There's one in particular that Stephanie Volkel will testify about. Stephanie was a good friend of Dee's. She also worked with Dee in the office. She says that at one point, Dale comes storming into the office in front of all the employees and puts his finger at Dee and says, "You, outside now," and proceeded to scream at her 2 feet away from her face in front of all the employees to see. Now on to the stalking behavior. Dee, her main car was a Cadillac Escalade. Comes with OnStar. So you can go on your phone and you can find out where the car is. Well, you'll hear from the person from OnStar, Devin Newell is his name. They were able to pull up their records, how many times that Dale tracked Dee over the period from January of 2020 through April of 2021. And it was over 2,000 times that he tried to get her, or did find her location. It's over 4 times a day. Here's the app that would be used. I know you can't read the text at this point, but you'll get the exhibit. There's the button right there on the front part of the app that says View More. From there, you go to the second page, which would be the More page, the middle page here. There's a vehicle locate option, and then you'll pull up a map, and it'll show you where that vehicle is. 2,000 plus times. She also drove a Hummer occasionally. That was also a GM product, but it didn't come with OnStar. His then son-in-law, Brian Bush, will testify that he wanted to track her in the Hummer too. And so Dale, had Brian buy off Amazon a tracker that could be installed in the Hummer. Dee discovered it, and there's a picture of it. We also have the Amazon purchase history from Brian Bush that shows him buying the GPS tracker. Brian will testify that Dale would call him and say, go online and find out where the Hummer is. Where's Dee in the Hummer? They had an IT person for the farm. Kyle Wagner will testify. Dee was scheduled for a medical procedure, and Dale approaches him and says, "Can you clone Dee's phone for me? Basically download everything that's on there, all her texts, all her phone calls." And Kyle says, "No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna violate her trust." Later on, when the police got a hold of his phone, Dale's phone, they see that he took 90 photographs of Dee's text with her son, Zach. And you'll see that exhibit as well. At one point, Zach and Dee were hiding things from Dale in the Munger house, in Zach's bedroom. And Zach goes to get in his safe, and he can't get in it. Well, long story short, Dale had Brian, the guy who got the tracker, get an exact replica of Zach's safe, switched them out, and broke into Zach's safe and replaced it with the one he got off Amazon. Zach will testify to this. But again, June 11, 2019, we have the record from Amazon of the safe that Brian bought for Dale. Last thing he did with Brian was to try to set up cameras in the living space so he could monitor Dee in the home. So here's a picture of the living room. I know you can't read this, but you will see this. At the bottom it says places for camera. And this text string had 3 photos. And here's another place he's suggesting for a camera. This is in the living space of the house. This is in the kitchen area. Again, place for a camera. So I think you're getting the impression here, the idea that this marriage had no intimacy, only secrecy. They didn't sleep together. They were just roommates. You're going to hear from Giada and Maddie that they would go shopping with Dee, and she would say, pretend these are yours. You carry them in the house, or they would wait until Dale wasn't around to sneak them in the house. She kept her phone on her at all times. I mean, she was on the couch, she would have her phone. She would never let her phone be somewhere where, you know, it's just sitting on a table. She wanted it in her hand or on her person. She even locked her car when it was in the garage. She had her purse in the car, she locked the car in the garage in the house. All right, so now let's turn to the weekend of April 24, 2021. So Friday, there is a blow up with two employees. Two of the trucking company employees, the brothers actually, Todd and Terry Naring. And you'll hear more about this. It's not important right now what the issue was about, but Dee was at odds with both brothers at the end of the day on Friday. Saturday morning, Dee goes to her oldest daughter, Amber's house. Angelina, the 9-year-old, has spent the night there. Lena has a soccer game at 10:30 or 11, so Dee goes over to Amber's house to get Lena to take her to the soccer game. Dee comes back from the soccer game, sobbing, hyperventilating. What happened? Yeah, I told you about the two brothers Friday night, Terry and Todd. Well, Terry, his girlfriend or his ex-wife is also named Terry with an I. While Dee was at the soccer game, she gets this text from Terry. And I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but here's the important part, about 2/3 of the way down. You're evil, nosy, miserable. Your own husband said you take Xanax because you're a mess. That's the truth he told me and Terry. This text, this betrayal, where she believes that Dale is telling the employees that she is on Xanax and a mess, sends Dee into a tailspin. So she goes back to Amber's house and she shows Amber the text. She can hardly talk. She's so upset. She's sobbing, she's hyperventilating. She goes right into the bathroom and throws up. She is so distraught. She tells Amber, I've had it. This is it. There's been talk of a divorce over the years, and he's never gone through with it. No, this is the time. This is the last straw. So she says to Amber, we're getting divorced, we're selling the businesses. Later on that afternoon, this is when she's talking to Amber, it's about 1 o'clock, let's say. 4:30, 5 o'clock, she's talking to Raquel at the Munger house. She's back there. She tells Raquel the same thing. It's over. I'm ending it tonight. She arranges for the 9-year-old Lena to stay at relatives, at her Aunt Amy's, and so it's now just Dee and Dale at the Munger residence. Now, Dale, after Dee goes missing Saturday night into Sunday, he speaks with the police numerous times, and you're going to hear these interviews. And so he's acknowledged that he got a call Saturday, late morning, when he was out in the field doing his farming things. Dee calls him. He could tell by the tone of her voice, quote, he was going to get an ass chewing. And Dee said to him in that phone call, why are you telling the help I'm on Xanax? And we're done, we're selling everything. This is it. This is from his own lips. So, again, back to other interviews, that what Dale told police happened after everyone left the property and it was just him and Dee Saturday night. He said that she was upset over the employees. Not that it was about divorce, it was about the fights Friday night. she accused him of being mean, and he tells the police, look, we've been going to marital counseling, and I've been told to de-escalate, and that's what I did. I de-escalated. He says, we never had the sell everything conversation. She brought it up, and I said, Dee, it's just not your decision. He tells police, she wanted to escalate more, but I wouldn't go there. But she wouldn't let it go. She got herself so upset, according to him, that she got a migraine. She took some pills, ate some food. He rubbed her shoulders. She was calming down. She fell asleep on the floor. He put her on the couch and went to bed. And that's all that happened Saturday night. Sunday morning, Dale gets up early to go farming. He tells police, I leave the house. She's still snoring away on the couch where I left her. This is a shot of the living room looking towards the kitchen, and he later tells police that's the couch that I'm talking about. Seven o'clock, the surveillance cameras that I talked to you about earlier, they show him getting on the JCB. And here's that. So again, just to remind you, I know you don't have this memorized yet. We're talking about number 2, the dry fertilizer barn at the top, and the camera that you just saw was the camera off of building number 1, the old shop, pointing north. There's a blow up of that. There's the area that we saw the JCB in. You can see if that JCB had turned in front of the old shop, it would be heading right toward the house. Between the house, number 3, and the dry barn, number 2. Okay? He acknowledges that he drove the JCB up to the house. Okay? Sunday, later that day, witnesses will actually see the JCB tracks going up to the house. If you recall from the camera angles, there's no camera that shows that stretch from south of the dry barn to the house. So that it's not on camera, him driving up to the house. But witnesses will say, yeah, we saw the tracks, and Dale agrees he did drive up to the house.
So the tire marks out front, so on Sunday, when someone comes over here and they see the tire marks from the JT, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting, whatever the yellow one on the motor, up to the porch, do you recall? I mean, it's aggressive, the deep tried it, so do you remember, did you do anything? You did it for us the other day for trash.
I told you, when I went out, I forgot, I pulled on the JCB, I pulled over this way, I forgot something, I run into the house, grabbed it. I think I probably forgot my tool that I opened everything up with, so.
You said you drove that over there, but you didn't say so. I didn't ask you.
Right, I pulled out, I said, shit, I didn't get this, I ran in, grabbed it, went back out, and then went back around. Opened everything up.
Okay, you'll see the man in the orange shirt. That's Kevin Grucka, Detective Kevin Grucka is now retired. He was the lead investigator on this case for the first months or year. So what does Dale say? That he was snoring away when he gets ready to spray. 7 o'clock, surveillance shows he's on the JCB, drives up to the house. Then when he was interviewed later by the Michigan State Police, they said, can you mark on a map where you drove up with the JCB? And he did. Here's the map they gave him. It's going to be impossible for you to see the X. Apologize for that. Couldn't blow it up any bigger than that without making it totally blurry. With that red circle, I added to this to show you that's where the X was, or is when you will see the exhibit. That's about as close as I can get it. And again, right there is the X. Okay, so we're looking at the back of the house, and basically right in line with that peak coming off the main part of the roof. All right, so you can see that same peak. You can see my blue X. That's not part of the photo. But essentially where the X was in the picture that Dale marked up when he was being interviewed by the Michigan State Police. All right, now I want to talk about the Hummer on Sunday. So they had taken the Hummer to Florida, and you'll hear from several witnesses saying it was parked in the same spot for weeks after they got back from Florida. And Saturday night it was still parked in that same spot. And Dale admits to the police later on that Sunday morning, the only people that were around that could have moved it were him and Dee. And here's a picture from a couple days later, taken by the police, April 29th. Okay, Sunday is April 25th. But this is where the Hummer had been parked and was moved back when this picture was taken. Okay, and you can see there the relation between the front end of the Hummer and the back door, which is right there. Okay. Now, in relation to the living room, the door that the Hummer is parked in front of is right there. Again, back to Devin Newell and the OnStar records. He'll testify that at 7:08, okay, remember 7 o'clock, JCB comes up to the house. 7:08, Dale uses his phone to go on My Cadillac, OnStar, and unlock Dee's car in the garage. Again, just here's the app, and there's the unlock button right there. There's the garage door open. Again, this is a couple days later, April 29th, but that's where Dee always parked her Escalade. Okay. And you'll hear that Dee locked her purse in the car, but after Sunday, April 25th, no one could ever find it. 7:14, you'll see the JCB driving up to the northeast corner of the property. You'll also hear that Dee's phone made the last contact with the cellular network at 7:14. And after 7:14, her phone is never on again. Its last location is on the Munger property. We know that because there is a cell tower to the north and another cell tower to the south. We know the distance the phone was from each tower, and we can triangulate that the phone was on the Munger property. You'll hear from a witness that'll tell you that. 7:45, he gets in the sprayer, leaves the property to go spray a neighboring property. And he's basically out spraying until a little after 11. When he leaves, he texts Dee's phone, going spraying, call you later. Okay, so he leaves at 7:45, so he returns at 8:15 for about a half an hour to reload, goes back out in the sprayer, and that's where he is for about 3.5 hours total. So he's gone. Daughter Raquel, Dustin Lally, and their kids, two daughters, they have a standing invitation for Sunday morning breakfast. Okay, so this is not something that's prearranged. They just show up expecting Dee to be there, expecting to have breakfast with her. They come in the house, she's not around. Okay. Now remember, she was on the couch snoring when he left. 9:30, they arrived. She's not on the couch anymore, for sure. Both of her cars are there. This is odd. Where is she? 9:41, Raquel texts, where are you? No answer. So they eat breakfast, not really alarmed yet, just kind of curious, why isn't she here? Why isn't she answering her texts? She always answers her texts. But they go back to their house, and you'll hear that they live only maybe a mile up the street. But before they even go in, Raquel's like, I'm going to call her. And it goes right to voicemail. Again, that never happens. Dee's phone is attached to her, and she will always answer. So they return to the Munger property to say, okay, something's not right here. So Raquel, they come back. The Hummer is now up at the office, and so is the JCB. She'll testify that actually the Hummer was up at the office when they were there at 9:30 for breakfast. So she figured, okay, Mom's not in the house. They must be in the office arguing. So Mom's not answering. Let's go to the office, and just make sure that everything's okay. So you'll see 10:09. She appears on that office surveillance camera looking for her mom, and Dee is not there. Okay, so Raquel and Dustin then go to Dee's brother and sister-in-law's house, Greg and Shelley Hardy. Again, they're all living within a 5-mile radius. This is like 2 miles down the road. First they go to an event center that Greg and Shelley have, and then they go to Greg and Shelley's house to see, is Dee here? No. Do you know where she is? No. So now Shelley joins them as they start looking any place that Dee could possibly be. And the Warners have a property up at M50 and Onstead Highway that they call the Cedar Point property. It's got a lodge there. They go up. No, Dee is not there either. So now they've crossed off all the places that she possibly could be. We didn't really search the house. I mean, she wasn't answering when we called, but let's go search the house. But in the meantime, she calls her siblings, Amber, Zach, and TJ. Hey, do you know where Mom is? Have you seen her? No. She calls Stephanie, one of her best friends. Do you know where Mom is? Stephanie doesn't know either. Nobody knows where she is. Now, Dale is out farming, but we know from his phone that between 7:45 and 10:30, he went on there and used Find My iPhone to see where Dee's phone was. Okay? And he also tried to look, those Munger surveillance cameras have a remote access app. So you can go online and you can watch your security cameras. He tries to do that as well. 10:32, Stephanie calls, where's Dee? And his answer, well, when I left, she was sleeping on the couch. So Dale says, I'll come back. He gets back to the Munger farm about 11:20. He goes to the office where the kids, Zach and TJ, are trying to figure out, they're calling around different places, they're looking at the computer monitor, they're accessing the history, the camera history, the footage, going back a few hours, seeing, can we see anything on the security cameras of what happened? How did she leave? Did she leave? What happened? So he comes in there, and next to that office, the picture I showed you, there's a hallway, and there's a lunchroom where Dale has his desk. And Dale comes out of there, and he says, oh, fuck, she left her wedding ring. And he shows them. So here's the camera view of the office. And you can see TJ, the oldest son, on the left with his arms behind his head. Dustin Lally is in the top corner with looks like a hoodie and some kind of a hat. And Zach is at the computer screen. And Dale is almost off the screen on the right. And this is about the time, although he's off camera. And here's Shelley also in the room at the same time. But we can see that they're there at 11:59 on Sunday. From there, he goes to the house. Raquel is in the bedroom, in Dee's bedroom, and Dale says, "Here, she must have left because she took her go bag, she took her makeup bag, she took her curling iron, she took her hairspray. They're all gone." That's the bedroom we're talking about. So the kids want to report her missing. None of this is adding up. Dale says, "No, I don't want to do that right now." So they all meet up secretly at Zach's house. Not all. Amber's not there. It was TJ, Zach, and Raquel. And they make the call to the police because something is definitely wrong. 6:55 p.m., Sheriff's Deputy Austin Hall shows up at the Munger property and talks to Dale. Dale says, basically confirming the facts that I just went through with you, that Stephanie had called him. He found out from her that Dee was missing, that she had left her wedding ring, and he said, this is weird because, we've had arguments over and over, and Dee has left many times, but she always takes Lena. Okay. He says, yeah, we argue all the time, but she's never without her phone. And he says, yeah, she's secretive though, and she parks her car locked in the garage. So Deputy Hall leaves. He's taken his report. Monday, Detective Greca comes back and talks to Dale again. And he says, Dee left like she usually does, but again, he's going through the ways that this is different. Again, he says she never leaves Lena, she's never left her ring before, and she's never left without her vehicle. He admits that it was better that Lena wasn't there for their argument Saturday night. And he admits that on Saturday night, Dee would not let it go. So that's the Monday interview with the police, and you'll see that. Tuesday, Detective Greca comes back, and he walks the property with Dale, looking in all the cabs of the trucks, looking for any possible place on the property that if Dee had some kind of episode, she might have gone and passed out or had some kind of distress. No sign. So he leaves. Tuesday night, comes back with a search warrant to search the properties, all the outbuildings. Okay, and you'll see this on his body cam. He's talking with the daughters, and he's got Dale on the phone because Dale's not at the property at that point in time. This is like after 8 p.m. And he says to him, Dale says, or he knows that Dale's not there because he's talking to him on the phone. And but he has Dale has Jaron, his son, come and get him. And you also see that he moves a tank while the police are searching. And the reason for that is the decision has been made to just let Dale do his farming, not to interfere with his farming. So the police do multiple interviews with the witnesses, but Dee, her whereabouts cannot be explained. Okay, days and days and weeks and months go by. From May 2021 to May 2023, numerous other searches of Munger and other places, interviewing dozens of witnesses. October 2021, the FBI stepped in and they did a search of the Munger residence and property. 2022, the state police take over from the sheriff on the lead to the investigation. May 2023, dozens of officers from all over the state came down and searched just about every field that could possibly have been where Dee's body was. Walking the fields and no sign of her. Now, police got Dale's iPad that he used in 2021, and they saw that he had done a search in May, after Dee went missing in April, of how to dispose of a 1,000-gallon propane tank. Now, if you know anything about propane tanks, they look almost identical to anhydrous tanks. The big ones, not the little ones you get at the gas station. Also, looking back at the surveillance video from the Sunday, April 25th, you can see Dale on camera getting welding supplies together. So they put those two things together and they got a search warrant for tanks that had been re-welded shut, cut open and re-welded shut, with a weld that looks different from the weld that the tanks come from when they're new. Right? And so there's a couple of places that they store anhydrous tanks when they're not in use, and one of them is at a property on Paragon Road, a couple of miles away from Munger. And they're looking at, I don't know, 6, 10 tanks that are there. No re-weld, but in the very back, all by itself, there is a tank, number 34. And it's got a weld that no tank would come from the factory like that. It's got a sign, a tag attached to it that says, "Bad dip tube, do not use." So they take the tank to get x-rayed. And here's what they find. Based on seeing what's obviously a body in the tank, they then are ready to see, okay, who is that? So they take the tank. Before they cut it open, they put a camera inside, and sure enough, there's a tarp. In that tarp is a body, and that body is Dee Warner. They test the tank. Dale's fingerprint is on the ammonia sticker that you see there. They test the paint, and it's similar to the paint in the old shop on the Munger farm. Please consult with a welding expert. Okay, how would this be done? How would you cut a tank open, put a body inside, and re-weld it? Well, he looked at the tank. He looked at how it was cut open. He could determine from the marks that he could see on where it had been cut open that it was cut open with an abrasive cutoff wheel. Well, here's surveillance in the old shop, and you'll see this. This is Dale with an angle grinder and cutoff wheels. The expert says, okay, it was welded shut with a gas metal arc welding process. And here's Dale also on Sunday afternoons standing by the welders in the old shop. The expert says, okay, there was something attached to the top of that cap that got cut off. It was probably a hook, so you could hold the cap while you're cutting it. There's Dale getting a hook on Sunday afternoon. He said, okay, you would use a chain, you'd hook that, you'd wrap the chain around that hook, that's how you would hold the cap while you're cutting it. There's Dale grabbing some chain. If you're going to weld a tank shut, you're going to need a welding mask and gloves. There's Dale getting a welding mask and gloves. If you weld something, you're in short sleeves, you're actually going to get a sunburn. This is from the body camera on Monday, the 26th. And there's Dale's arm. So now, please go back to all the surveillance All right, where's this tank? Let's see if we can find this tank. So we know that when Detective Greca came on Tuesday, he walked the property with Dale, looking for Dee. And here's a section of that body cam. Okay, and this is the area of the burn pile. That's a still shot from that body cam. I know that you can't see it from where you are. Again, you're going to get this as an exhibit. When you do, you'll see there's an obvious defect in the weld in that area. Blew it up as much as I could. Remember the defect in the when the police found the tank in the barn in Paragon, right there. Also remember on Tuesday, in the evening, the police had come with a search warrant. Go back and look at the body cam from that search warrant. Again, I said, Dale's not on the property at that time. Detective Greca says to him, yeah, we're here with a search warrant. We've got cadaver dogs on the way. They're about 20 minutes out. Cadaver dogs that can smell human remains. Tells Dale, yeah, the cadaver dogs are about 20 minutes out. We're going to start the search. You're welcome to be here. You don't have to. You can come back if you'd like. As soon as Greca gets off the phone with Dale, he turns, and there's Dale's son, Jaron, on the phone. He's like, you talking to your dad? Oh, I just got off the phone with him. 20 minutes, the dogs will be there. Jaron leaves, comes back with Dale in 18. Here's what happens when he gets back. Those men on the pad are part of the search team. They're running a drone. Here comes the JCB. Ryan Rank is one of those men. He's going to testify it was Dale behind the wheel of that JCB. There it goes to the burn pile. And here it comes with the tank. Ryan Rank, who was flying that drone, decided to capture it with his camera. Now again, I don't know how well you're oriented to the property yet, but that building that he is going towards is the spray barn. There's the inside of the spray barn on Thursday the 29th with Dale spraying the floor. There's a different view of that. And one of the things you're going to be able to do in addition to looking at all the evidence that I just showed you in terms of photographs and video, you're going to be able to compare the statements that Dale made to the police versus other pieces of evidence in the case. So, for example, Dale told the police that he used Find My iPhone to look for Dee. Remember that? He said, I tried to access the surveillance cameras. It wouldn't work on my phone, but I tried because I wanted to see, you know, did someone come and pick up Dee? I was looking for Dee. Okay? But the evidence is he accessed those apps before 10/29. We have the records. By his own admission, he didn't know that Dee was even missing until Stephanie called him at 10:32. You can think about Dale's conflicting statements that just conflict with each other. For example, he acknowledged the Hummer was parked in front of those steps. He acknowledged only Dee or I could have moved it on Sunday morning. He acknowledged that he drove the JCB up to the steps and went in the house. And he also said at the same time Dee was still sleeping. But yet he claimed that Dee was the one that moved the Hummer up to the office. Again, here's where the Hummer was parked, as he acknowledged to the Michigan State Police. Right in front of those steps. Those JCB tracks went right up to the steps. In January 2024, the Michigan State Police went out and they did a little test, a little demonstration to see what would the JCB be able to do up there, parked right in front of those steps. And there you can see what could be done with the bucket. Other statements of Dale's that you should consider, or that you can. He told Raquel and the police that Saturday night he recited back to Dee their wedding vows. For Richard for poor, sickness and in health, etc. He also said to the police that he sure as hell wasn't getting divorced again. He'd already done that once. Now, Judge Olsaver read you the elements of the charges that you'll be considering at the end of the trial. Okay, so he's charged, you're going to be able to consider first-degree murder, second-degree murder, and tampering with evidence. And I know that you heard this already this morning. I just want you to have this in mind as you're listening to the evidence, the things that we have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. We have to prove for first-degree murder that Dale caused Dee's death. And we have to prove that he did it intentionally, with the intent to kill. And for first-degree murder, we have to prove that he did it with premeditation and deliberation. Now, I hope you all remember back to when we did the jury selection, and you all agreed that it's possible for a person to run a red light with premeditation and deliberation. This does not take days of planning, even hours of planning. If you have time to weigh the pros and cons of your decision and you decide to go forward with it anyway, that is enough for premeditation and deliberation. Second-degree murder is similar. First element is that Dale caused Dee's death. And it could be with the intent to kill, or it could be with the intent to cause great bodily harm. You're not intending to kill, but you do something with the intent to cause great bodily harm, and death results, that's second-degree murder. Or if you do something so risky, okay, so if you knowingly create a very high risk of death or great bodily harm, knowing that death or such harm would be the likely result of his actions, that's enough intent for second-degree murder if he did that and caused her death. The other charge is tampering with evidence, okay? And again, so there's some evidence to be presented in a future official proceeding. Think of her phone, her purse, her body, right? If you have an autopsy, you can tell How did someone die? Was it natural causes? The defendant removed, altered, concealed, destroyed, or otherwise tampered with that evidence. He did so on purpose and not by accident. That's the third element. The evidence was intended to be used in a criminal case where open murder was charged, which is what he's charged with here. A couple other things that Judge Oldsaver will tell you that I want you to keep in mind in terms of proving his intent, that we can prove it, you can infer his intent from the type of wounds inflicted, the acts and words of the defendant, and any other circumstances surrounding the alleged kill. Motive may be important, but we don't have to prove that he had a motive or why he did this. So I remind you of what I started with. This is what Dr. Cho will testify to. And think about this in terms of those elements. She was strangled. She had blunt force trauma to the face and head enough to have killed her. She had duct tape over her face and neck. She was in her pajamas, wrapped in a tarp, welded in a tank. When you hear this evidence and at the close of the trial, we'll be asking you to return a verdict of first-degree murder and tampering with evidence. Thank you.
Shardy, does the defense wish to make any statement?
Yes, Ms. Vinsky will do that. Thank you.
Throughout this trial, you'll see that the government's evidence and case is built on speculation, assumption, and innuendo. They will put witnesses on the stand and show you numerous exhibits, but you know what you won't see? Proof beyond a reasonable doubt. The government has a theory, but there is no concrete evidence of that theory. That's what is important to pay attention to. Consider very carefully if what the government is actually presenting to you is actual evidence of murder or something that they are theorizing and speculating is evidence of murder. Really think about the details of the case that the government is going to put forward to you. As you heard from the court, the law does not allow imagination to replace proof. Instead, the oath that you took requires that you consider all of the evidence when analyzing the specific details of this case. The law also requires that you consider the lack of evidence. The critical time here is the night of April 24th, 2021, going into April 25th, 2021. That is when this murder supposedly happened. This time frame is when the government claims that Mr. Warner killed Miss Warner, moved her body, took a tank, cut it open, put Miss Warner's body inside of the tank, welded the tank shut, painted the tank, put more stickers on the tank, and then moved it. You'll see, you saw in the pictures, that this is a giant anhydrous ammonia tank. Its size and weight are significant. And all of this is supposedly being done while Mr. Warner is working on other chores and doing work that is part of his regular duty on the farm. The government wants you to believe that this was all done on the farm without anybody noticing it. You'll learn that there were numerous people on the farm during the time frame that the government has focused on. As early as 3:27 in the morning on April 25th, a truck driver comes onto the farm to load up a truck and make a delivery. You'll learn that people can, and actually do, show up on the farm at any given time. Around 7 a.m., Mr. Warner starts his day and begins to work on the farm like he typically does. Mr. Warner leaves, his property, the farm, at 7:47 a.m. to go and spray a different farm. That's part of his job. Around 8:04 a.m., another worker comes onto the farm to work. This is before Mr. Warner even comes back. You'll learn who's on the farm throughout the day. For instance, if we move to the 11 a.m. hour, more people arrive. There are 7 people that are on the farm in addition to Mr. Warner. The same worker who arrived at 8 a.m. is still there. He's joined by a friend. Miss Warner's son, her son arrives on the farm. Her son-in-law is on the farm. Another son joins them. Her sister-in-law arrives, and then her daughter arrives shortly after that. Again, in that hour alone, there were 7 people that were on the farm with Mr. Warner. The afternoon of April 25th is no different. At 2:31 p.m., Miss Warner's son-in-law, nephew, daughter, a farm worker, his friend, they are all on the farm. And then about 20 minutes later, another employee arrives. Here is another hour where there are 7 people on the farm with Mr. Warner. Mr. Warner didn't put restrictions on where people could go. He didn't know who would randomly show up and walk around. You'll see surveillance videos from the farm where they track people's movements and where they went. Again, this case is not about what might have happened. It's about what the evidence proves beyond a reasonable doubt and what it does not prove. Now, it's easy to point fingers after the fact. It's easy to take words and behaviors and take them out of context and twist them and intensify them into the stories that you will hear in trial. But at the end of the day, you all aren't here to judge whether Mr. Warner was a good husband or not. You're here to determine whether the government has proven beyond a reasonable doubt that Mr. Warner committed the crimes that he's charged with. You'll hear a lot of testimony throughout the course of this trial. I'm sure you're aware of that at this point, and I don't want to take up more time telling you what you're going to hear from the stand, but I do ask that you focus on 3 things when you're listening to the testimony. First, think about the government's own timeline for when they claim Miss Warner was murdered, and then the tank was cut open, Miss Warner was placed inside it, the tank was welded shut, painted, and moved. The government will try to force events to fit into this timeline that do not fit because they cannot fit within it. Their own timeline will fall apart with close examination. People that are on the farm at the time that the government is claiming Mr. Warner is hiding Miss Warner's body. And third, consider how the investigation was conducted and how the police ignored other relevant information. In the end, the court will instruct you and has instructed you at this point that the burden of proof is beyond a reasonable doubt. That is the highest burden in our legal system. And this high burden is as it should be with the allegations we have here of murder and tampering with evidence. This is a burden that the government will not be able to meet. And because the government carries the burden of proof, any unanswered questions, any inconsistencies, any holes that the government does not fill because it cannot fill after hearing the facts are reasonable doubt. By the end of the trial, the government will not be able to rule out each and every reasonable doubt that exists in this case. And the law requires that even just one reasonable doubt means that there must be a finding of not guilty for Mr. Warner. So for all of these reasons and others that you will learn about, we ask that you follow your oath and follow the law and find Mr. Warner not guilty on all counts. Thank you.
was my mom.
I'm gonna ask you to speak up real loud.
She was my mom.
Okay. And do you have siblings?
Yes.
Who are they?
TJ Bach, Zach Bach, Raquel Bach, and Angelina Warner.
Okay. And your maiden name was Bach?
Yes.
Okay. And the the 4 Bachs, who is your dad?
Timothy Bach.
Okay. And so your mom and Tim were married?
Yes.
Okay. And how did you know Dale at that point in time when your mom and Tim were married?
Yes.
Okay. And at what point did your mom and Dale get into a relationship?
They worked together at, I can't remember the name of the company, but it was a chemical fertilizing company, I believe.
Okay. Did you do your very best to speak as loud as you can?
Sorry.
So you said they worked together.
Yes.
How old were you at that time?
Probably between 13 and 14.
Okay. And did there come a point when your mom and Tim got divorced?
Yes.
And that was about that same time, about around when you were 13 and 14?
Yes.
Okay. And then what happened with Dee and Dale? They got married, is that correct?
Years later.
Okay, and that's why I'm asking about how many years after the divorce?
I believe it was
It was like a year or two, 5 years?
no, like 5 to 6 years
Okay.
later.
Okay. And so how old were you then when Dee and Dale got married?
18.
Okay. And where were you living at that time?
With my dad.
And in relation to the Munger property, how close was your dad at that point in time?
Maybe 5 minutes.
Okay, so close.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I want to take you to Friday, April 23rd, 2021. Did you do something with Angelina that day?
Yes.
What was it?
We went and had lunch together. It was at her school. It was bring an important person to school day, I believe. And we went and had lunch, and then we picked up my son from school, and then we went back to my house.
Okay. And do you remember how old Angelina was at that time? Or what grade she would have been in?
Oh, maybe 9 or 10.
Okay. All right. And then that night, is Lena still with you?
Yes.
Okay. She spent the night?
Yes.
When was, after Friday night, when was the next time you saw your mom?
After Friday night?
Right.
Saturday morning.
And do you remember approximately what time?
It was in the morning, maybe between 9 and 10.
Okay. And do you know, where did you see her?
My house. She came to my house.
And do you know why?
To pick up my sister, Angelina, for a soccer game.
Okay. And again, do you have an approximate time when the soccer game was?
Around 10,
Okay.
10:30.
All right. And so do they go to the soccer game?
Yes.
All right. And what are you doing, just generally speaking, on that Saturday?
I'm working from home.
Okay. And what kind of work do you do?
I'm a nurse.
Okay. And you can do your work from home?
Yes. I speak to patients and help them troubleshoot issues from home.
Okay. People who've had surgery?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So do you see your mom again on Saturday?
Yes.
About how much later?
About an hour and a half to 2 hours later after the game.
Okay. And again, approximate time frame?
Between 11 and 12.
Okay. And is there anything about when she came back that you remember?
She was hysterically crying when she came in to the house.
Okay. Where were you when she came in?
I was at my desk in my room.
Okay. And so she just, Dee just came in the house?
She came in the house and directly into my room.
Okay. And what happens when she gets in your room?
She sets her phone on my desk with a text message opened.
Okay. And if I showed you that text, would you remember it?
Yes.
All right. Showing the witness people's proposed 87.
Yeah.
That's the one she showed you?
Yes.
Did you read it at the time?
Yes.
What was the gist of the text?
Somebody was mad at her for getting in their business and
Okay. What was your mom's reaction to that text?
she went, after she set the phone on my desk, she went directly into my bathroom connected to my bedroom, and she threw up and was crying and just saying she was done.
And did you know what she meant by when she said she's done?
She said, "We're selling everything, I'm done."
This is 8033, future plan or intent. Go ahead. What was she saying about what she wanted to do?
She said, "We're selling everything, I'm done."
Okay. And what did you take that to mean?
She was done with her marriage.
Okay. Did the text that she showed you involve Dale?
Yes.
How did it involve Dale?
At the end of the text message, the person said, something along the lines of, even your husband says you're a mess and take Xanax.
Okay. And would you say that your mom was a person that wouldn't care if that information was out in the public, or something else?
She would care.
Okay. And so, where are you when you're actually having this conversation? Is it in the bathroom, in the bedroom?
She was first in the bathroom kind of shouting out how she was done, and I was sitting at my desk at the time. And I did get up and go in there to comfort her
Okay. Had your mom talked about divorce before to you?
multiple times.
Okay. At this point, can you give us a sense of how long Dee and Dale had been married? Was it a year, 5 years, 10 years?
20?
Okay.
No, 15 to 15.
Okay. And were you able to observe them over that 15 years in their marriage?
Yes.
Okay. And would you consider it a good marriage?
No.
Okay. And can you give us a ballpark? How many times you think your mom had talked about divorce?
I couldn't even keep count on a regular.
Okay. So was this episode any different, or had you heard this all before?
It wasn't this bad.
Okay. You'd never seen her this bad?
Correct.
Okay. All right, what happens next?
I went into the bathroom to comfort her, and then I had to get back to work, and so she sat with me and kind of just tried to pull herself together. She sat in my room, and then she had an appointment to get her lashes done, so she was trying to pull herself together to do that.
Okay. And then at some point, does she leave for her appointment?
Yes.
And did you see her again after that?
Yes.
Okay. She comes back to your house?
Yes.
Okay. And where is Angelina during this time?
She's at my house playing with my son.
Okay. And approximately how long did your mom stay after she came back from the eyelash appointment?
A couple hours, I would say.
Okay. And what are you doing during that time?
I'm working,
Okay. And what is your mom doing?
kind of tending to the kids, and I think she might have made lunch.
Okay. And you're working in your bedroom?
Yes,
Where is she doing the laundry, folding clothes, and that kind of thing?
in the laundry room, and then she was in the kitchen.
Okay. All right. And then at some point she leaves?
Yes,
And again, approximate ballpark time that she would have left?
mid to late afternoon.
Okay. And did she
Oh.
take anybody with? No?
Actually, it was probably later than that.
Okay. Was it still light out, as far as you can
Yes.
remember? All right. And did she take anybody with her?
She took my sister,
Okay.
Angelina.
Lena? Did you do anything after she had left in relation to the earlier episode where she was so upset?
I called my sister Raquel.
Okay. And why did you call her?
I was worried about her.
About who?
My mom.
Okay. Was that a normal thing where you would call Raquel after a visit from your mom?
No.
Now, I want to ask about, was your mom, tell us a little bit about your mom in terms of, did she care about her appearance when she was out in public, that kind of thing?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
She never left the house without makeup and her hair done
Okay.
and fully dressed nice.
Could you ever see her leaving the house in her pajamas?
Never.
Okay. Did you see your mom at all on that Sunday?
No.
Did you see her at all after she left your house on Saturday afternoon into Saturday night?
No.
Okay. Did you hear anything on Sunday morning regarding your mom?
Yes.
Okay. Was that one time or multiple times?
Multiple times.
Okay, and who was communicating with you?
My sister Raquel.
And this is during the day on Sunday?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever see your mom again after she left your house?
No.
Thank you, nothing further.
Mr. Warner, you had testified that you were in high school when Mr. Warner and Miss Warner got together, is that correct?
Yes.
And you observed them fighting a lot throughout the time that they were together,
Yes.
but you never saw physical violence between Mr. Warner and Miss Warner.
No.
You never saw Mr. Warner on the verge of hitting Miss Warner during any of these arguments.
No.
You never saw him get close to her during these arguments.
No.
And I believe on direct you indicated that your mom brought up divorce many times. Is that accurate?
Yes.
It wasn't surprising to you when she would say things like this?
No.
According to you, I think you said she brought it up millions of times. Is that accurate?
I did not say millions.
Do you remember having an interview with the police in November of 2022?
Yes.
Do you remember saying that it was a million times according to you?
Possibly.
And she brought that up on April 24th, 2021.
Yes.
Mr. Warner's response to Miss Warner saying she wanted a divorce was, okay, whatever, Dee.
I don't remember.
Would looking at the police report help you refresh your recollection?
Sure.
Ms. Saylor, can you do GWR02, page 57? And just read that and let me know when you are done.
Okay,
Did that help refresh your recollection?
yes.
That was Mr. Warner's response to, I want a divorce. Okay, whatever, Dee?
Yep, that's what I said.
Objection, can we get some clarification on the time frame of when this, okay, whatever the response is?
You had a conversation with your mother about wanting a divorce. She wanted a divorce from Mr. Warner on April 24th, 2021. Is that correct?
Yes,
And she actually indicated that to Mr. Warner before she had come over to your house.
okay.
Do you agree with that?
I might have said it at the time, I can't remember specifically the conversation now.
Would looking at the police report again help? I just
It
want...
looks like I said that, yes.
Okay, and based off that, on that same day, April 24th, 2021, Mr. Warner's response was, okay, whatever, Dee.
Yes,
She also, in the past, had threatened to be done with businesses and sell it all, correct?
I don't recall.
Would listening to your interview to the police help you refresh your recollection on that?
Yeah,
Okay. It's going to be GBC 04. 4054. Okay. Did that help refresh your recollection?
yes,
So your mother, Miss Warner, she'd threatened in the past to be done with all of the businesses and wanted to sell them all. Is that correct?
yes,
And she'd said that many times before.
yes,
You would describe your mom as dramatic,
I guess.
and it's not abnormal for her to argue.
No,
Going to April 23rd, 2021, you picked your sister up, Angelina, from school.
yes,
And she spent the night at your house, which was actually something common for her to do. Is that right?
yes,
Your mom came to drop off clothes for her on April 23rd.
yes,
And at that point, you had spoke to your mom, had a conversation.
yes,
And your mom didn't complain about anything unusual. It was all normal things she would discuss. Is that accurate?
she was complaining about business things, but I don't remember specifically.
Is that normally something that she would discuss with you and have complaints about?
Yes,
And you testified that the next day, April 24th, she picked up Angelina around 10 a.m. Is that accurate?
around,
The day that she went to the soccer game, she was wearing leggings, black slip-on shoes, and a black zip-up.
that's what I remember.
You mentioned that she was upset about Mr. Warner mentioning her use of Xanax to other people.
Yes,
And just to be clear, your mom had also said negative things about Mr. Warner as well throughout the course of their relationship.
To me?
Yes.
Yes.
She referred to him as that asshole.
Yes.
And when your mom was at your house that Saturday, April 24th, she was starting to get a migraine.
I don't recall.
Would looking at the video or listening to the video of your interview with the police help refresh your recollection?
Possibly.
Thank you. It's going to be GW0D01 11015 to 11028.
I can't. Okay, okay.
Did that help refresh your recollection?
Yes.
She started getting a migraine that day on April 24th,
Yes.
and she took medicine for it.
That's what I said. Yes.
Just lastly, on April 25th, you were not alarmed at first when nobody could find your mom.
Not right away.
You thought she left because she was mad at Mr. Warner.
Correct.
And you were not worried because that's something she had done many times before?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
No regret.
Thank you, ma'am. You can step down. All right, it is almost noon, so we will break for lunch at this point. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm about to read to you an instruction that you will likely get sick of hearing after a while, because I need to read it to you every time that you are dismissed and while we adjourn. So, and that is the publicity instruction that you've heard a couple times already. During the trial, do not read, listen to, or watch any news reports about this case. Under the law, the evidence that you consider to decide the case must meet certain standards. For example, witnesses must swear to tell the truth, and the lawyers must have the ability to cross-examine them. Because news reports do not have to meet these standards, they could give you incorrect or misleading information that might unfairly favor one side. So to be fair to both sides, you must follow this instruction. So we will break at this point and resume at 1:30 p.m. So please try to be here shortly before 1:30 a.m. We'll do our best to get started right at 1:30. They can do it.
May we approach for a minute?
Sure, yeah. Okay, so just for the people still in the courtroom, we are still on the record, so I need you to remain silent and not have conversations. We are still on the record, although I have dismissed the jury, so please remain quiet. First, we did not address the issue, but at this point, is Ms. Millian released from her subpoena? And I asked if she's still in the courtroom, and we need to know that to determine whether she can remain.
Yes, Your Honor.
No objection, yes.
Okay. All right, so Ms. Millian, you are welcome to stay in the courtroom for the remainder of the trial. The other issue is, I don't know if it would be helpful, but the court does have a set of over-the-ear earphones to assist with playing audio back to the witness. We can get you that if you want it.
Ms. Saylor seems very happy, so I think the answer to that would be yes.
And the last thing is that I would just remind people about the sequestration order and maybe ask the attorneys to scan the gallery on occasion. Obviously, the officers out front are doing their best to make sure that no one who is a witness comes into the courtroom, but your assistance in that regard would be helpful also.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else we need to address on the record before we break?
We want to talk about exhibits more. That's fine.
Your Honor, I believe we would stipulate to admissibility of certain exhibits if the court wants to do that right now.
That would be fine.
Okay. Exhibits.
'22, I believe, and
Yes, 1 through 22 and
87, subject to our objection, the court overruled that.
correct. And then here we are. Exhibits 204. Exhibit 204 for right now, Your Honor.
Okay. So 1 through 22, 87, subject to the defense objection that is already overruled, and 204, you have a stipulation to admit those.
Correct, and defense's Exhibit A, which is just another aerial view of the property.
That's correct. And Exhibit 204, we made 16 copies of those for each juror, and I believe we stipulated that they could have those as a reference point for testimony during trial.
And it's the same with Exhibit A for us. So obviously whoever the court wants to do it, but one thing that we could do is just have them on their seats when they come back, so for the jurors, so that they could just have those moving forward.
Any issue with that, Ms. Weiss?
I have no issue.
Seems like a reasonable way to do it.
So before we start again, we'll make sure they're on the seats. Thank you.
All right, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right, one last thing. I'm sorry, Ms. Sherry.
Oh, no, we will have other stipulations on exhibits, but I think that takes us through the bulk of this week.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so we will break at this point. One last thing, just for members of the gallery, please be cognizant of your electronic devices when you come in and make sure they're on silent or vibrate. I understand it's a society we live in, and it's probably not going to be perfect, but I did hear a couple of dings or something go off. So please, on your way into the courtroom, just check that and do the best you can to make sure that we have those on silent. All right, so we will break now. We'll resume at 1:30 p.m.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you. You can be seated.
Yes, Your Honor. The people would call Kelly Stace. Kelly Stace.
Ms. Stace, before you sit down, I'll ask you to raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty for perjury?
Yes.
Okay, you can go ahead and sit down. I'll ask you just to keep your voice loud so that everyone in the courtroom can hear you.
Okay.
Can you please state your name and spell it for the record?
Kelly Stace, Kellistace.
All right. Ms. Stace, where were you employed in April of 2021?
Salon Lucero in Tecumseh.
And what do you do at Salon Lucero?
I used to work there. I no longer work there, but I do. I'm an esthetician, so I specialize in brows and lashes.
Okay. And so when you say lashes, can you walk me through that process? I don't know what that means.
So I do eyelash extensions. I do lift and tints, which is more of a perming process.
Okay. During the course of your employment, did you meet Dee Warner?
Yes, I did.
And do you recall when that was?
No, not exactly.
Okay. How long had you known Dee Warner, if you can recall, in April 2021?
Probably about a year to a year and a half.
Okay. And was she a client of yours at that
Yes.
time? And how long had she been a client? That whole time you'd known her? Is that how you
Yes.
met her? Okay. And what service did you do for Dee?
Eyelash extensions.
Okay. Can you describe the process of doing eyelash extensions?
Yes. So the client's eyes are closed, and you're adhering one synthetic lash to each one of their natural lashes.
Okay. And did you have an appointment scheduled with Dee Warner in April of 2021?
Yes.
When was that?
I believe it was Saturday. I think the date was the 24th.
Okay. Do you recall approximately what time it was?
Either 11 or 12, I would say, is usually when she would schedule.
Okay. And did she show up for that appointment?
Yes.
All right. And did you do the appointment?
Yes.
All right. When she arrived there, how did she appear?
Very upset. She was crying, shaking. She sat for a few minutes so she could stop crying.
Okay. Her crying, would that affect your ability to do her lashes?
Yes.
All right. Why?
You cannot adhere very well if the lashes are wet.
Okay. All right. So she sat there for a little bit, and at some point you ended up doing her lashes.
Yes.
All right. And while you were doing her lashes, did anything happen that you remember?
Yes, we had a conversation briefly about, she was upset, asked me to talk about.
I would agree with that, Your Honor. So did, while she was getting her lashes done, did anything happen?
Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Sure. Do you remember if Miss Warner got a phone call while she was getting her
Yes,
lashes
she
done?
did. She got a few phone calls while she was in there.
Okay. How many phone calls do you think she got?
At least 2 that I remember.
All right. And when you described the process of getting your eyelashes done, can you explain to me how the client is positioned when you're doing the lashes?
Yes, so they're laying on something similar to a massage table.
Okay.
On their back. Their head is up towards me and their eyes are closed through the whole service.
Okay. And so how many phone calls do you think she's getting?
At least 2 that I remember for sure.
Okay. And is she asking you to do anything for her?
Yes, tell her who was calling.
Okay. Is that because she couldn't see herself?
Yes.
All right. And did you in fact tell her who was calling?
Yes.
And who was calling?
The first one, I don't remember the person's name, but it was a female that she knew.
Okay.
And then the second one was her husband.
Okay. And did she respond to the phone call she was getting?
Yes.
And how did she respond?
That she was not going to take the call.
Okay. During the course of Dee being a client of yours, did you develop a close relationship with her?
Yes.
All right. How describe that for me?
Just bonded over similar things that we were going through at the time, I guess.
Okay. And what were some of the things that you were going through at the time?
Relationship issues.
Okay. When Miss Warner left your office that day, did she make any additional appointments?
Yes.
All right, and how many appointments did she make?
She made 2 more appointments.
All right, and would that be common for her to make appointments before she left?
Generally, yes.
All right, how often did you see her?
Generally every 2 weeks.
Okay. After that appointment on April 24th, 2021, did you see Dee Warner again?
No.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Good afternoon, Ms. Stace.
Hi.
How often, you said, I believe you testified Miss Warner would come to you every 2 to 3 weeks?
Generally, yes, every 2 weeks.
And the first session, when she first came to you as a client, that lasted about 2 hours?
Yes.
And then the other sessions were about 1 hour?
Yes, that's correct.
You did not hang out with Miss Warner in any capacity outside of these appointments?
Correct.
And you've never met Mr. Warner?
Correct.
You testified about her coming into her appointment on April 24th, and you mentioned 2 phone calls that she received
Yes.
during that appointment. Did she answer either phone call?
No.
You've never seen any red marks on Miss Warner?
Not that I recall, no.
And you've never seen any bruises on Miss Warner?
Not that I recall.
I have nothing further.
No follow-up, and she can be excused, Your Honor.
That's correct, Your Honor, we have no issue with that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your time, Ms. Stacy. You are excused from your subpoena, so
Thank you.
if you want to remain in court, you can.
The people would call Raquel Bach.
Good afternoon. Will you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty for perjury?
Yes.
Okay, you can go ahead and sit down. Just ask you to try to keep your voice up as much as possible.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Can you state your name and spell it for the record, please?
Raquel Bach, Rikkelellbock.
All right. Ms. Bach, how did you know Dee Warner?
She was my mom.
Okay. How would you describe your relationship with your mom?
Very close.
Okay. And where did you live in relation to where your mom lived on the Munger farm?
Like almost in her backyard.
Okay. I'm going to show her. Okay. Is that not working? Okay. What road did you live on?
Carson Highway.
Okay, and so your mom lived on the corner of Munger and Carson?
Correct.
Okay, and so you would describe it essentially in her backyard?
Yes.
All right. And in April of 2021, what were you doing with your house?
A total remodel.
Okay. Did you go to the Munger farm a lot?
Almost every day.
All right. For what?
My mom watched my kids, and while I worked, and then she would also watch them sometimes when I would help on the house. She helped me do my laundry. We'd eat dinner there almost every night.
Okay. What about Sundays?
Sundays, pretty much every Sunday we would eat breakfast, but we would always go grocery shopping on Sundays.
Okay, always go grocery shopping?
Yes.
All right, and when you say we would go, who would go?
My mom and I, My little sister and my kids.
Okay. How many kids did you have at that time?
2.
All right. And when you guys would go for breakfast, who would be part of the Sunday breakfast usually?
Just kind of depended on the day. Sometimes it was just me and my kids and my mom and Lena. Sometimes my boyfriend Dustin would be there with us. Just depended on the day.
Okay. And you're familiar with Dale Warner then, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay. And would he be around for Sunday breakfast?
Every once in a while.
Who usually cooked Sunday breakfast?
It kind of depended. If we had it, sometimes Dale would cook it. Sometimes I would cook it. Sometimes my mom would cook it.
Okay. Just so we're all clear, so you're talking about Dale, and I saw you nod your head. So is the Dale that you're referring to, is he in the courtroom today?
Yes.
All right. Can you point to him and identify what he's wearing for the record?
A gray suit.
I'd ask the record to reflect she's identified the defendant.
No objection, thank you.
Record will so reflect.
All right. So in April of 2021, what vehicles was your mom driving?
She had a black Escalade and a black Hummer.
All right. Was there one that she would drive more? Was it more common for her to drive than the other?
The black Escalade, she drove more.
All right. Were you at the Munger farm at any point in time when your mom had a concern about the Hummer, a device in the Hummer?
Yes.
Okay, and did you actually see that for yourself?
Yes.
Okay, and what did you observe?
I observed a piece or a small device.
Okay. Who actually found that item?
My mom.
Okay, and who's Dustin Lally to you?
My boyfriend.
Okay, was he present there too?
Yes.
All right, was it your mom that found it or was it Dustin that found it?
It was my mom that found it, who showed us and asked what it was.
Okay, and she had that conversation with both of you or just Dustin?
Both of us.
All right, and did you identify that item or did Dustin?
Dustin did.
Okay. Were you ever around your mom and Dale when they would have fights?
I feel like a lot of the fights were over the phone. I mean, I did live there, so I was present. I could hear from my bedroom. Yeah.
Did you have a chance to observe your mom's reactions to Dale when, if they would be fighting and he would try to give her a massage or touch her?
Yes.
All right, and can you describe those reactions?
Uncomfortable.
What do you mean by uncomfortable? What would she do?
Almost freeze.
Okay. Do you recall a time when, in March of 2021, your mom and Dale and Lena went to Florida?
Yes.
Okay, and do you know what they drove down there?
The camper.
All right. And when they came back from Florida, do you recall seeing the Hummer at the house?
Yes.
And where was that parked at?
Outside of the sliding glass doors.
Okay. Your Honor, may we approach?
Issue in the courtroom right now, so we're going to take a short recess to try to get that resolved. As soon as we do, we will bring you back in.
Sorry, Your Honor, we had it figured out the other night at work, and I have so many exhibits.
What do you need? Because we got some cables, we might have something.
A cable that will hook the iPad directly in.
Yeah, so it's a special cable that goes to the iPad to
We
make sure.
don't have any proprietary Apple stuff.
The sailor does.
Okay.
USB-C to HDMI.
What was it working on when we were there?
This exact setup.
But I got a couple different ones of them. Do you need HDMI? Can I have that too?
If that one doesn't work, try this one.
Too many exhibits to show you, so we had to fix the technology issue. We talked a little bit about where your home was in relation to the Munger Farm, so I'm going to go back and show you Exhibit 205. And do you recognize that?
Yes.
Okay, and what's in the bottom of the screen, in the bottom left corner of the screen?
My mom's house.
Okay, and that, the Munger Farm?
Yes.
All right. And where is your house in relation to that on the map?
Like almost in the middle of the picture.
Okay, on the right side of the road?
Yes.
Okay. Here, I'm gonna approach the witness with some exhibits. Actually, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna show you Exhibit 12. Exhibit 12, do you recognize that?
Yes.
All right, what's that?
My mom's house.
All right, what side of the house?
The back side of the house.
Okay, so if you're on Munger Road, you would have to go behind the house.
Correct.
All right. Exhibit 13, what's that?
The sliding glass doors in the back of the house.
Okay. Exhibit 14,
The front of the house.
from Munger Road.
Yes.
Okay. Exhibit 15,
The side of the house that faces Carson.
okay. Exhibit 16,
The other side of the house.
okay. Exhibit 17,
Inside the garage.
okay. And is that your mom's Cadillac that you were talking about?
Yes.
All right. Exhibit 18,
The Hummer.
Exhibit 19.
Same Hummer.
All right. And is that where your mom would normally keep that Hummer parked, or where would it normally be?
Yes, that's where it was.
Okay. Exhibit 20. Do you recognize that item?
Yes.
What's that?
The JCB loader.
Okay. So when we refer to the JCB, this is what?
Yes.
Okay. Exhibit 21. What's that?
The Kubota.
All right. And that's, it looks like just like a little off-road
Like a utility.
utility vehicle. Okay. All right. Number 6.
The office.
Okay. And is that, so if I'm looking on the left side of the screen, I can see a big bay garage door. Is that also part of the office?
No, it's a barn.
Okay. Exhibit 7.
Like the main office doors.
Okay, and with those doors, are those doors kept locked, do you know?
Yes.
Exhibit 8. Are you familiar with the inside of the office?
Yes.
All right. What is this?
That That is the layout of the inside of the office.
Okay, so I see on the bottom of the screen, there's, so it says the main office, and then you can kind of see the bottom of the screen where the doors, would that be the front doors that we just looked at on the previous slide?
Yes.
Okay, and then to the left is a conference room?
Yes.
All right. And did your mom have an office in there?
Yes.
Where at?
Right when you walked through the front doors.
So in the part that's labeled main office?
Yes.
All right. And then so if I walk through the doors and I take a right, where am I going?
Down a hallway to like Dale's office or the break room, and then the trucking side.
Okay. Is there another door to get in and out of that office?
Yes.
All right, where's that at?
It's located in front of like the trucking office.
Okay. Would it be in the front or the side or the back? Do you know?
The front.
Okay. Exhibit 9. Do you recognize this area?
Yes.
All right, and what area is that?
It's like the break room / Dale's desk.
Okay, so the break room / Dale's desk?
Yes.
All right. And is that what we see in the top right corner? Would that have been his desk?
Yes.
All right. Exhibit 10. What's this?
It's just like the side of the house, between the office and the house. It's the
Okay.
driveway.
11. What's that?
The sprayer barn.
Okay, the sprayer barn. Do you ever go in there?
No.
All right. Just wanted to get a little bit of layout of the property out there on Munger. So I'm going to take you back to the Saturday, April 24th, 2021. Did you see your mom that day?
Yes.
All right, where at?
Her house.
Do you remember what time it was?
4 or 5-ish
PM?
p.m. Yes.
Okay. Who were you with?
I was with my daughter, one
Alright.
of my daughters.
All right. Who was at the house when you got there?
My mom and Lena.
All right, what were they doing?
Lena was sleeping and my mom was sitting on the chair.
Okay. How did you observe her to look?
Unwell.
Describe that.
Very upset. Almost the shell of herself. Upset.
Okay. Was she crying? Was she doing anything?
Yes.
All right. Did you have a conversation with her about what was going on?
Yes.
All right. Based on that conversation, did she tell you that she had any plan that night?
That she was gonna leave Dale.
All right. Did she say when you say she said she was going to leave him, what was the plan for that night?
She was gonna tell him that she wanted a divorce.
All right. Was she going to tell him anything else?
That she was gonna sell the trucking company.
Have you had that conversation with your mom before?
Not necessarily in that context, but the sale of the trucking company, no.
Okay. Had she talked about divorce with you before?
Yes.
All right. So that wasn't something that was uncommon?
Correct.
All right. But this was the first you were hearing about selling the business?
Yes.
All right. And what time did you leave the house?
I wasn't there very long, maybe an hour, so 5, 6.
Okay.
I don't even think I was there that long.
All right. Did you have a plan to come back to the house later that night?
It was kind of up in the air. She asked me if I wanted to come back for dinner, but I wasn't sure, so I didn't necessarily have a plan for that night.
Okay. Did you text your mom at all that night?
I did. I text her like pretty late and told her that we weren't coming.
Okay. When you say pretty late, do you recall about what time it was?
I want to say maybe 11, 10 or 11,
Okay.
I think. I don't remember.
Okay. Do you think it could have been a little earlier than that?
Yeah, could have been.
Okay. And, well, if I let you read this report, would it refresh your recollection as to the time?
Yeah.
Just go ahead and read it quietly, and then I'll follow up.
Okay.
All right, do you remember approximately what time you texted her?
It was 21.
Military time, so
Yeah.
about 9 o'clock. Does 9 o'clock
Yeah.
sound right? Okay, fair enough. Did your mom respond to you at all?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Sorry, I
No,
should have
that's
read
okay.
further.
Do you want to read a little bit further?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh,
Did that refresh your memory?
yes.
Okay, did she respond to you at all?
No.
Okay. All right. Saturday night, what time did you get home? You and Dustin went somewhere after that, after your mom's house, correct?
Dustin wasn't with me when I was at my mom's, but when we were at our house, then we went back to my dad's house.
Okay, and where does your dad live?
Maybe 3 miles from my mom's house.
All right. Would you have to drive by your mom's house to get back to your house?
Yes.
Do you recall approximately what time you drove back by her house?
I think it was like 10:30.
Okay. And did you look over at the house?
Yes.
Did you observe any of the lights on?
Yes.
And at that time of night, was that odd to you? Did that stand out to you?
Yes.
All right. Why?
Because the living room, like, main lights weren't typically on, especially that late at night.
Okay. All right. And did you observe the Hummer?
Yes.
Where was the Hummer parked at?
Behind the house, by the sliding glass doors.
All right. And how did you observe the Hummer parked behind the house?
It's when you drive by from the one side, it's basically right on the back of the house.
Okay. So you can see it from the road?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to show you Exhibit 19, which you've already described as the Hummer. Is that where you observed it parked?
Yes.
All right. Get home, go to bed, do whatever you do. What do you do Sunday morning when you wake up?
I woke up and went over to my mom's house.
Okay. Do you know approximately what time?
(8:30, 9 o'clock).
Okay. Who went over to your mom's house with you?
Me and Dustin and our kids.
All right. And was that for your Sunday breakfast?
Yes.
All right. What'd you do when you got there?
We went in and just kind of started making breakfast. And then I texted my mom and asked her what she was doing. I believe that's what I asked. And I didn't get a response.
Okay. And does your phone tell you if a message doesn't go through?
I don't know.
Okay. So you texted your mom, asked her what she was doing. Did you observe her in the house?
No.
All right. Then what'd you do?
I kind of walked around the house a little bit to see if anybody was there, and nobody was there.
Okay. When you say you walked around the house, where all did you go at that point in time?
The living room is like right off of the kitchen, so I looked in the living room, and then in her bedroom,
Okay. What'd you do after that?
and then I remembered that I saw the Hummer parked down at the office along with the JCB, so I figured she was at the office.
Okay, so when you arrived there Sunday morning, you saw the JCB and the Hummer parked outside the office?
Correct.
All right. And so you walk down to the office, what do you do?
I didn't go down to the office at that point.
Okay.
I think we just ate some breakfast and then we left
Okay, where'd you go?
to my house.
All right, what'd you do from there?
I called my mom.
Did she answer?
No,
Okay. Did the phone ring?
no.
What'd you do after that?
I went back down to the office to see if my little sister was down there
Why would you be going down there to see if your little sister was down there?
because I thought they were fighting in the office.
When you say they, who are you referring to?
My mom and Dale.
All right, and so you were gonna go get your sister or something?
Yes.
All right. Did you go in the office?
Yes.
All right, and what'd you see?
Nothing.
Okay, what'd you do after that?
I left. I think I left again and went back to my house and called my siblings and anybody that I thought would know where she was.
Okay, when you said you called your siblings, who all did you call?
I called Zach and Amber.
Okay, did you call TJ?
I don't think I had called him yet at that point.
All right. After you talked to Zach and Amber, what'd you do?
I sent a message to Stephanie
Stephanie who?
Vogel
Okay.
and Shelly. No, I don't think I called Shelly at that point yet.
Okay. I'm gonna stop you. Who is Stephanie Vocal?
She was my mom's secretary.
All right. And do you know if her and your mom were close?
Yes.
You know, or they are? They were.
They were.
Okay. And okay, you sent Stephanie a message, and then I'm sorry. Did you say you called Shelly, or you?
I don't think I called her yet at that point.
Okay. So after you left a message for Stephanie, what'd you do after that?
Then we drove. We drove to my uncle's farm.
All right. Who's your uncle?
Greg.
Greg who?
Greg Hardy.
All right. Why did you drive over there?
Because I thought maybe she was down there, my mom.
All right. Why did you think that she might be down there?
Because sometimes when my mom and Dale would fight, she would go to Shelly and Greg's.
All right. And so who is Shelly?
Greg's wife.
All right. So your Aunt Shelly and Uncle Greg?
Correct.
All right. And how far from the Munger farm did they live?
Mile, maybe.
Okay. So everybody kind of lives pretty close together.
Yes.
All right. So do you talk to Greg and Shelly at that point?
Yeah. I talked to Shelly. No, I didn't see anybody. I'm sorry.
Okay. And then where'd you go?
I went to Shelly and Greg's house,
Okay.
which is another mile or so down the road.
All right. Did you talk to him at that point?
I talked to Shelly.
All right. And what'd you do from there?
Shelly came along with us then, and we went up to the property in Onstead.
Okay. When you say Shelly came along with us, are you still with Dustin and the kids?
Yes.
All right. So it's you, Dustin, the kids, and Shelly.
Yes.
All right. And you went to the property in Onstead. Can you give me a location?
The Cedar Point property.
Okay.
Or do you need a road?
If you know the road, that'd be great.
It was off of yeah. M50?
M50?
Yeah.
Okay. And M50 and Tipton, does that sound?
No, M50 and Onstead Highway.
Onstead Highway. Okay. So you guys load up, drive out to you call it the Cedar Point property?
Yes.
All right. What do you do at Cedar Point?
We pulled in, and Dustin went in to see into the barn to see if she was in there.
Okay, and,
She was not there.
okay. What'd you do after that?
Came back to my mom's house.
And then?
Looked around the house some more, just to see if we missed something maybe the first time.
All right, so this time, where all did you look when you go back to the house?
Pretty much everywhere. The garage, her car was there. We went in, her bedroom or bathroom, and then we went upstairs to the bedrooms.
Okay. What did you do after you looked through the house and you can't find her?
I kind of stayed up there. Dustin went down to the office.
Okay. Did you at any point in time call Dale and ask, where's Mom?
He called me.
Okay. Do you know when he called you?
He called me when I was at my Aunt Shirley and Uncle Greg's farm.
Okay. Did you have a conversation with him?
Yes.
What'd you guys talk about?
He asked me if I had talked to my mom.
All right. So he called you looking for your mom.
Yes.
All right, why?
Because somebody had called him. I think Stephanie called him. And Stephanie told him that I was looking for my mom.
All right. So does he say anything else about your mom?
That they got into, no. No, I think I asked where Lena was, and he told me that she was at her aunt and uncle's house.
Okay. Did he say anything else?
In that phone call,
Did he tell you where your mom was at when he left the house?
he said that she was sleeping on the couch when he left at 6 a.m.
Okay. And you hang up with him, then what happens?
And then that's when we went to Shelley's, and then,
Okay, all
so
right.
then we came back to the house.
So at some point, when you come back to the house, does Dale arrive at the house?
Yes,
All right. Do you have a conversation with him?
yes.
All right. And what's the first contact you make with Dale when he comes back to the house? Where's that at?
In my mom's bedroom.
All right. And I'm going to show you Exhibit 2. Okay. What's that?
My mom's bedroom.
Okay. And is that where you had a conversation with Dale?
Yes.
All right. What do you guys talk about?
He asked me if I knew about my mom had he asked me if I knew that my mom had a secret phone. He said that she's been leaving in the middle of the night, and then he said that she's got pills everywhere. And then he showed me that she left her ring on the desk in the office, on his desk.
Okay, so you're looking for your mom, and he says to you she's been leaving in the middle of the night, she's got all these pills, and here's her ring. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, does he say anything else to you?
At that point, I don't think so.
Okay. Do you have any other discussion with Dale about the fact that you can't find your mom anywhere?
Yes.
All right, and what do you guys talk about?
It kind of led into the back into the kitchen, and he opened up the medicine cabinet and started talking about the pills again, and then said, everything I've worked for is gone.
Okay. Did you ask him what he meant by that?
No.
All right. What else did he say?
I don't really remember.
Did he tell you that they had any discussion or any fight the night before?
Objection leading.
His wife.
If you don't remember, can I refresh her? I'd like to refresh your recollection. Do you remember that conversation?
Yes.
Okay. What else did Dale say to you about their conversation that night?
Well, he told me that they barely fought, and he gave her a massage. She fell asleep, and he picked her up and put her on the couch. And in their fight, he asked her if she loved him, and he said, you know, through sickness and in health, and for rich or for poor, and so on. He read her the vows, essentially.
Okay, so he said they're fighting and he read her their vows.
Yes.
Okay. Do you stay there and continue to talk to Dale, or what do you do after you have that conversation with him?
He ended up leaving the house. I stayed just a little bit longer, and then I left.
All right. Where did you go?
I dropped my kids off at a friend's house.
Did you talk to Dale about any concerns you had, or what you wanted to do next because you couldn't find your mom?
Yeah.
All right, and what did you want to do?
I wanted to call the hospitals to see if she had checked herself in somewhere, phone records, call the police.
Okay, what would you call the police for?
Missing person.
All right. And did you tell Dale that you wanted to do that?
Yes.
And how did he respond?
He said, well, I'll take Lena to school in the morning, and then if she's not back by then, I'll stop by the police department.
Okay. Throughout the course of your mom's marriage to Dale, did you know her leave at times?
Yeah.
Okay. And so it wasn't common for her to leave for, do you know how long she would leave for?
Maybe a day, maybe two.
All right. And how long do you think your mom was married to Dale?
15 years.
Okay. In the course of that 15 years, the times that you have knowledge of, how many times do you think your mom left for a day or two?
Maybe every couple of months,
Okay.
at least.
Every couple of months over 15 years, so maybe a couple hundred?
Yeah.
Okay. Had you ever called the police to report her missing prior to this?
No.
All right. And did you end up calling the police?
Yes.
All right. Do you recall, was that on that Sunday, the 25th?
Yes.
All right. Did you have the opportunity to look at a somewhat mild autopsy photograph of your mother's clothing?
Yes.
All right. And did you recognize the clothing that she was found in?
Yes.
And what was she wearing?
Pajamas.
Okay. Thank you.
afternoon. I just have some questions for you. You testified that you went over to your mom's house basically every day leading up to her going missing.
Correct.
And how long had that been going on for?
Since October of 2020.
And you also testified that you lived there when you were younger as well,
Yes.
in the house. You personally observed yelling between Mr. Warner and Miss Warner?
Yes.
You'd classify your mom as a yeller.
Yes.
I think we just established that your mom, Miss Warner, was known to randomly leave for a day or two throughout the 15 years that she was married to Mr. Warner.
Yes.
And it was also common for her to say that she was done with her marriage.
Yes.
It wasn't surprising when she would say things like that to you.
No.
Would you often consider it just talk?
Yeah.
It was also common for her to say that she was done with her businesses as well.
No.
Ms. Saylor, I'm going to have you play for Miss Bach GW OD 06 3418 to 3440, please. 18 to 3440. $34.18 to $34.40. Did you hear that?
I did, but that's not.
You told the police that your mother, Miss Warner, would commonly say that she was done with the marriages and done with the businesses.
Done with the marriages.
You also said she was done with the businesses, and that's what she told your brother that day, and that was a common thing.
That's not exactly how it was meant.
But that's what you said?
I mean, I guess if that's not exactly, she was commonly saying she was done with the marriage with Dale, but that was the first time I'd heard her say that she was going to sell the businesses.
Your mom suffered from chronic migraines,
Yes.
and she also had chronic neck pain.
Yes.
I want to put a time frame on this common topic of bringing up divorce. In the months leading up to April 2021, that was frequently when she would talk about wanting a divorce, correct?
Before they even got married.
Okay, so it was
Yeah.
frequent all the time. Speaking of April, you testified on direct April 24th, 2021. You saw the Hummer in the back of your mother's house on Munger,
Yes.
and it was pulled up to the sliding glass doors.
Yes.
When you were driving on Munger Road, were you driving toward Carson Highway or away from Carson Highway?
Away from Carson Highway.
And when you were driving, was the Munger house on your right?
Yes.
When you saw the Hummer, was it when you were approaching the house, when you were in front of the house, when you were driving away? At what point did you see the Hummer back there?
As I was approaching the house.
Do you know where exactly you were in relation to the intersection of Carson Highway and Munger Road?
I guess it would be sort of in front of that big door that was in the same building as the office.
Okay, so you were outside the office building and the big garage door that Miss Weiss had mentioned?
Yeah, which is where the road is.
I want to move to April 25th. You went over around 9:30 a.m. to your mother's house,
Yes,
and you just walked right in. You didn't knock.
right.
That's something that you would typically do?
Yes,
The door was unlocked.
yes,
You couldn't find your mom, so you went back outside.
no,
After you were in the house, you were there for a certain amount of time. You eventually left the house.
right, yes,
And so you went back outside, you went to your house,
yes,
and when you sat in your driveway, that's when you made the phone calls.
yes,
After you made those phone calls, then you went back to the office on Munger.
right,
When you got to the office, you just walked in.
yes,
At that point, when you had gotten to the office, none of your siblings were there yet?
no,
The door, was it unlocked when you had walked in?
the trucker side office doors were unlocked more than the main office doors were unlocked, so yes,
And you used that door?
yes,
At some point after that, you also went back to your mother's house and looked around?
yes,
You walked around the property on the farm?
I did, yes,
And when you had arrived to the Warner home on April 25th, you didn't see any stains on the couch?
no,
You didn't see any marks on the couch?
no,
You didn't see any stains or marks on the carpet?
no,
At one point, you were in the office with your brother Zach, is that correct?
yes,
And you looked at the camera surveillance videos.
yes,
And you were able to view them because your brother Zach had access to the cameras.
correct,
That day, April 25th, Mr. Warner was acting how he typically acts.
yeah,
And he actually told you that Miss Warner would come back.
yeah,
He thought she voluntarily left.
yes,
And that's why he didn't feel the need to call the police or do anything at that point in time.
correct,
To your knowledge, Mr. Warner would use the JCB that we saw in that photo to move trash around from place to place.
correct,
And he would drive it to the office, he'd drive it to the house to collect the trash,
yes,
and then he would dump it out in the back.
yes,
Your mom, she liked attention. Would you agree?
yeah,
And she was dramatic,
yeah,
and she would overreact to situations.
yep,
I have no further questions.
So over the 15 years, the many times the topic of divorce came up, was there something different about this time, in your opinion?
in my opinion, yes,
Okay, what did you observe that made you feel this was different?
because My mom is a reactor, and she's going to yell and have an argument, but this time she was almost calm.
Nothing further.
I have nothing further.
She can be excused, Your Honor.
No objection, thank you.
Thank you. You are excused from your subpoena, so if you want to stay in the courtroom, you are able to do that.
Thank you.
You ready for me?
Yes.
Okay. The people would call Amy Alexander.
Ms. Alexander, before you sit down, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand, please. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty for perjury? Need you to say it louder than that, please.
Yes.
You can go ahead and have a seat. It is important that everyone be able to hear you, so I'll need you to keep your voice up as much as possible.
Okay.
Amy, can you please state your full name and spell it for the record?
Amy Jo Alexander, AMYJOALEXANDER.
Miss Alexander, did you know Dee Warner?
Yes, I did.
And how did you know her?
I had been with her brother-in-law since 2011.
Okay. And when you say brother-in-law, who is this?
Bill Warner.
And is that would be Dale's brother?
Correct.
All right. And so you also knew Dale Warner then, I'm assuming?
Correct.
All right. What was your relationship with Dee Warner?
We were good friends.
Okay. Did you guys talk often?
Yes.
How often would you talk?
Sometimes daily, sometimes every other day, sometimes a couple of weeks, depending on what our schedule was or her schedule was.
Okay. And in April of 2021, Dee had a 9-year-old daughter. Is that accurate?
Yes.
All right. And you have a child of similar age. Is that
Yes.
accurate? All right. Were those kids close?
They were very close.
Okay. Did you guys often do things together?
Yes.
Did you ever observe any arguments and fighting between Dee and Dale?
Yes, I did.
All right. Did you observe Dale try to massage or otherwise touch Dee while they were arguing?
No.
In April of 2021, did there come a time when you had a conversation with Dee about keeping Lena for the night?
Yes, I did.
All right. And do you recall what night that was?
It was April 24th, 2021. That was on a Saturday.
All right. Did you talk to Dee that day?
I did.
Okay. Text message, face to face. How did you talk to her?
Text message at first. I don't remember if there was a phone call involved, and then I went over to their house and picked Angelina up.
All right. Do you remember what time you got to the Warner farm?
7 something. I don't know the exact time. It would be on
my text record because she
Okay.
had asked if I was close or something, and I said here.
If I show you your text record, would you remember what time it was?
Yes.
Hold on, don't.
Oh,
Just,
okay.
just. Did that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
All right, what time did you get there?
7:42.
All right. Who did you go to the house with?
My daughter and one of my daughter's little friends.
All right. Did you go inside the house when you got there to Dee's house?
No, I just stood on the deck out back.
Okay, so you got out of your vehicle, but you didn't go inside.
Correct.
All right. Did you talk to Dee?
Yes, I did.
All right. Tell me what observations you made of Dee.
I could tell she had been crying. She had like red blotchy spots on her neck. She always had her makeup like done perfectly, and I mean her face was just, eyes were puffy, swollen. I mean, you could just tell that she had been crying quite a bit.
Okay. When you said Dee always had her makeup done, can you describe to me what the typical Dee was like on a...
Oh, she was always dressed very nice, hair and makeup done, jewelry, everything. No.
Did you ever see Dee leave the house in her pajamas?
No.
So she's crying, she's blotchy. Does Dee tell you what her plan for that night is?
She was going to talk to Dale, and she said she was done. She was going to sell the trucking company, and she was done, and she was going to tell him that she wanted a divorce.
Okay. Had Dee said this to you before?
Yes.
All right. How often do you think she said that?
A handful to a couple handfuls of times.
All right. Was there anything different about this time, in your opinion?
Yes. She was, there was just something about her that was different.
And before you went to pick up Lena, did you have, did Dee ask you to come pick her up, or how did that happen? How did it come about to where you came to pick up Lena?
The girls hadn't been together in, I don't know, they hadn't seen well, they saw each other at school, but for like a week, and I said, well, why don't you just let her come over here and stay the night? Hazel is here, and she has one of her friends, and all three of the girls went to school together. Lena was a couple years older, but they all knew each other, and I'm like, they'll have fun.
Okay. Did you know at that point in time when you made the plan for Lena to come over that Dee was going to have a conversation with Dale?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And so whose idea was it to have Lena come over?
Mine.
Do you know if Dee was going to have Angelina stay somewhere else that night prior to you offering to keep her?
I don't know.
I have nothing further.
Good afternoon, Ms. Alexander. My name is Mary Chartier, and I have some questions for you this afternoon. So, ma'am, to confirm it was your idea to have Angelina come to your house and spend the evening with your daughter Hazel and then one of Hazel's friends.
Correct.
And that wasn't unusual. It sounds like your daughter Hazel and Angelina were friends and they did fun things together.
They were very close, yes.
And they spent time at the Warners, correct?
Correct.
Hazel would also spend the night there sometimes?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
You arrived at, you indicated roughly 7:42 p.m. to pick up Angelina.
Yes.
Now, you had indicated that Ms. Warner, according to you, looked like she had been crying. She had a blotchy neck, right?
Correct.
In addition to what you testified to, Ms. Warner also told you that she had had a fight with a trucking employee named Terry.
Terry and Terry.
Terry.
Terry and Terry's wife, Terry.
So, sure, so I was getting to that, but thank you for the clarification. So she had an argument with Terry, the male, who worked as a truck driver for the Warners, and then Terry, his wife, ex-wife, who's a
Todd.
female.
And Todd. I think Todd was involved, if I remember correct.
And that was troubling to her, right?
Yes.
She had indicated to you that she had been fighting with Mr. Warner about the circumstances with Todd and Terry?
I don't know what the circumstances were. She was going to screenshot some text messages to me later that evening, but they never came.
So I'm not asking you about the specific circumstances. I'm asking you, did Ms. Warner talk to you about one of the things that she was arguing with Mr. Warner about was the situation with Todd and Terry?
Yeah, but I don't know what it was about.
Thank you. And when you were getting the leave with your daughter, Mr. Warner arrived at the home?
Correct.
Earlier in the day, when you had been communicating with Ms. Warner, she indicated that she had a migraine?
I don't remember.
Would looking at a copy of your exam transcript where you testified, would that be helpful to help your memory?
Yes.
Page 106, Ms. Saylor. Thank you.
Okay.
Did that refresh your memory, ma'am?
Vaguely, yeah.
Ms. Warner had indicated to you that she had a migraine earlier that day.
Yeah,
Correct.
and if I remember correctly, she said that she had been...
No, so I'm going to just ask you to just answer my question if that's okay.
Okay.
So the question was just about the migraine.
Okay,
And that was accurate, your testimony, when you provided that, correct?
correct.
Now, you testified that she'd indicated she wanted to get a divorce from Mr. Warner. She had said that to you previously, correct?
Correct.
And she'd also talked about not wanting to work so much, right?
I don't recall that.
So prior to April 24th, 2021, you don't remember her talking about not wanting to work so much? Would looking at a copy of your exam transcript where you testified under oath, would that help refresh your memory?
I would hope, yes.
Thank you, Ms. Saylor.
Can you let me know what page you're going to?
107. And if you start maybe at the bottom of 106, that might help put it into context. Ms. Alexander, did that refresh your memory?
Vaguely.
And there were several times at least that Ms. Warner had indicated to you that she wanted to stop working too much, or working so much.
She did want to spend time with her grandchildren, yes.
Thank you. Now, you indicated that you, in April of 2021, had known Ms. Warner for roughly 11 years.
I've been in the family since 2011, yes.
And so that would have been maybe about 10 years at the time? I'm sorry, you have to answer audibly
Sorry,
for the...
yes.
Everybody does that. Everybody does that. And sometimes you would have to take what Ms. Warner told you with a grain of salt, correct?
Sometimes.
And you also would know that sometimes Ms. Warner would leave her house for a few days during the course of her marriage with Mr. Warner.
Yes.
When you observed arguments between Mr. and Mrs. Warner, they were only verbal that you saw, correct?
Correct.
You did hear Ms. Warner yelling, but you did not hear Mr. Warner yelling back, right?
Correct.
I have no additional questions. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, you indicated sometimes Dee would leave for a day or two, and that was kind of a common occurrence through her marriage, correct?
Correct.
And how often would you call or text Dee?
Sometimes daily.
All right, and
Sometimes
did-
multiple times a day.
Were there times that she just didn't respond to you?
No.
All right.
She would always respond.
All right, and do you know, from your personal knowledge, if any of these times that she would leave the home for a day or two, did she still stay in contact with you?
Sometimes.
You indicated that you picked up Lena to spend the night with Hazel, and did you say you couldn't recall if Dee had other plans for her that night, or what was your response to that?
Objection, it exceeds the scope of cross. I didn't ask about that.
She did ask about Lena, her picking up Lena that night, and how it was her idea.
You would ask about who's up yours.
But I didn't ask if she had other plans. So, thank you.
It's not exactly there, but it's within the scope of what you asked. It's the same basic topic, so I would agree with that objection.
Thank you. Ma'am, if I show you your conversation with Miss Warner that night, would that help you remember what the plan for Lena was?
Yes. So Cal.
Did that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
And did Miss Warner have a plan for Lena that night?
She said she was gonna call Cal.
Okay, and that's when you offered to pick her up?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, sorry.
That's okay. After April 24th, 2021, did you ever talk to Dee Warner again?
No.
Thank you.
Nothing additional. Thank you.
Okay. Can we excuse Ms. Alexander from the subpoena?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Alexander. You are all set. You're excused from your subpoena, so if you want to stay in the courtroom, you can do that. All right, why don't we take about a 10-minute break, give people a chance to stretch, and we'll come back. And proceed. Anything else we need to address outside the presence of the jury at this point?
The only thing is, so I believe the stipulation for exhibits was 204, and Ms. Wise introduced 205, but we were going to be stipulating to 205. So I just wanted to make sure the record was clear,
Yes.
because theoretically it would not be moved to be admitted, but because we were stipulating to that, it would be admitted if the court approved the stipulation.
Correct, Your Honor.
So you're stipulating to 205 at this point?
Correct, and 204 too, we'll just jump ahead to that one.
Okay, I think you'd already agreed to 204.
We did.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So 205 is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Off record, it's my understanding that they have agreed, because of the next witness, that this is kind of a logical breaking point for today, so that we will adjourn for the remainder of the day and continue tomorrow morning. Is that accurate, Ms. Watson?
That's correct, Your Honor.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, we can bring the jury in, and I will release them for the day.
You may be seated.
Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are at a point today where it's kind of a logical breaking point between witnesses, and I'm told that we are a little bit ahead of schedule. So what we're going to do is adjourn for the remainder of the day. We will resume tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So again, just like today. And before I release you for the day, I will read you the publicity instruction one more time. So during this trial, do not read, listen to, or watch any news reports about the case. Under the law, the evidence you consider to decide the case must meet certain standards. For example, witnesses must swear to tell the truth, and lawyers must be able to examine them, or cross-examine them. Because news reports do not have to meet these standards, they could give you incorrect or misleading information that might unfairly favor one side. So to be fair to both sides, you must follow this instruction. So thank you for your time today, and we will resume tomorrow at 9 a.m. Is there anything else we need to address outside the presence of the jury at this point?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. That court will be in recess.
I'm just telling you, don't think that I'm picking that up.